Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. All right, that's right. I'm Karen Smith. I'm the Senior Vice President of University Relations and Alumni Affairs here at Kean. It is wonderful to see so many of you. I'm going to call it a packed house here in Union. For those of you who are watching on the live stream, we're happy to see you there virtually as well. So I especially want to welcome our colleagues from NJCU. I know many of you have never been here before. Can anybody raise their hand if they've never been to campus before? Fantastic. Well, welcome. I was talking to an NJCU colleague earlier today who said she hadn't been here in 40 years. The place has changed a lot in 40 years. I can say that for sure. So my job is housekeeping to start. So I'm going to ask you all to silence the phone. You knew that was coming. We got a lot of questions for today, a lot of thoughtful questions, and we want to make sure that we have time to answer as many as possible. So after these opening remarks, I'm going to moderate a conversation with Kean President Repollet and NJCU President Acebo, and then we will open the floor to questions with about 15 or 20 minutes remaining to try to answer as many as we can as we continue this journey toward a united institution. We have an opportunity to imagine what's possible. So I want to ask you all to do that today, right? To think about the new pathways for students, the partnerships in our communities, and the broader impact across the state. This is a moment really for an open mind, and so that's what I hope we all bring to today. So before we welcome President Repollet to the stage, I wanted to begin with a short video just to introduce our NJCU colleagues to what Kean University is all about. Thank you again for being here. Let's take a look.
Welcome to your world-class education, where access meets opportunity. Kean's motto is Cougars Climb Higher, because our students do great things, and we'll be with you along this journey. See you soon, and welcome to Kean.
Welcome to Kean.
欢迎来到肯恩大学。
Welcome to Kean.
Maligayang pagdating sa Kean.
Welcome to Kean.
أهلاً وسهلاً تفضلوا لكين.
Welcome to Kean.
Bienvenidos a Kean.
Welcome to Kean.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Kean. I think we kind of do better now. Come on now, Kean. Come on now. Come on, Jersey City. NJCU. Where are you, NJCU? Now, by show of hands, let me see my Jersey City University students. Where are you? That's what I mean. But I want to hear some noise behind that. Let's clap it up. All right. Let me see my Kean students. Where are you? All right. Okay. So my Kean faculty. Where are you? Wow. James, are you really going to let Bill show you up? NJCU faculty, were you in the house? Wow, how is that they have more people in the house than we do? James, Bill, 1, James, 0. Thank you. All right. Let me see. Kean administrators, you here? NJCU administrators, you here? Okay, I like that. So we got a nice cross. So to faculty, staff, students, and community members from both Kean and NJCU, thank you for joining us today. Truly, your presence matters. So does your voice. President Acebo, I'm happy to share the stage with you today to discuss transformative merger between our two institutions. Now, I privately got a sidebar with Andy, and I said, Andy normally come up there with a suit, like Mike Salvatore, always has a suit on, shirt and tie, always, looking presidential. And I show up with sneakers and sometimes a shirt off. Today, the guy shows up with no tie and a jacket. I said, damn. I said, if I should just go on and just go with my sneakers, and I would have fit right in. So, Andy, thank you very much. Andy 1, President Repollet, Lamont 0. Thanks, Andy. So this is our second joint town hall, and the first one here at Kean University. Before I begin, I would like to thank the Well-Being, Human Resources, and Student Affairs team for hosting receptions today so we can all get to know one another. I always talk about food and fellowship is a way for us to get together. See, at our first gathering in Jersey City, we shared a vision of transformation, equity, and opportunity for the new Kean, Jersey City. Today, we will build upon that foundation. We're here to answer new questions, offer clarity, we hope, and stay focused on what this merger means for our students, our campuses, and more importantly, our future. You see, this is not symbolic work. It's real, it's ongoing, and it's tough. And it will have a lasting impact, especially in the communities that we both of our institutions have long served with pride. See, we know this work is complex. It involves systems, people, cultures, and more importantly, change. See, everyone is okay with change until it happens to them. But the reality is there will be change. And yes, it involves difficult questions. Right? And so this is why we're here today, to continue this conversation with transparency, respect, and more importantly, accountability. We'll move forward not through assumptions, we'll move forward through engagement, through facts, and through partnership. So let us use this time well. Let us have a meaningful discussion, ask thoughtful questions, and remain focused on the path ahead together. So thank you for being here. In just a few minutes, I'm going to ask President Acebo to come up, and we're going to have a video. But I'm just going to tell my students, I know we use AI for a lot of different things, and some folks use AI to answer questions. But just to let you know, I have on my Meta glasses. I'm ready for you guys today. I bought some glasses just for you, Bill Collectus, and your team, because I know you're going to pep me with questions. So now I have all the answers, right? So I'm going to ask Meta right now. Meta AI. Hey, Meta, take a picture. But they weren't smiling, Meta. So I want everyone to smile and wave, and I'm going to say, hey, Meta, take a picture. That's awesome. I will share this on social media. So just to let you know that I have Joe Morgan on the side of it. Joe Morgan is our Vice President of Human Resources. I have my legal team over here, Kristen and Zaire. And guess what? I will know all the answers today. They will talk and they'll transmit through my glasses. I will hear through there, and I will sound as if I know everything. So I'm going to let you know right now, I got all the answers, guys. But right now, I'm going to invite my colleague, my partner, my brother to the stage. But we're going to see the video first. President Andy Acebo right after the video. Thank you.
In the heart of Jersey City, where diversity thrives, dreams take root, and the working class spirit defines us, stands New Jersey City University. At New Jersey City University, we're not just a college. We're a vibrant tapestry of first-generation scholars, champions of the working class, and a community of boundless opportunity. We understand the power of being first generation, the strength of working class determination, and the promise of a diverse community coming together. Our commitment reaches far beyond our campus. We're deeply rooted in our communities, places where service, research and innovation, art and culture and collaboration lead to real and lasting change and progress. At NJCU, education is your bridge to mobility. We don't just teach, we empower you with the tools to rise. As you walk across that graduation stage, you're not just getting a degree, you're building a legacy. You are the beacon for those who follow. And now, as we prepare in just 2 short years for our centennial, we are building a bridge to a bold new future. we're ushering in a new era alongside Kean University, expanding opportunities and strengthening our commitment to the communities we have long served. On our campus, your aspirations will continue to come to life. Your working class spirit will continue to be a force for transformation. And together, we'll climb higher than anyone ever imagined into our second century and beyond.
Good afternoon. Y buenas tardes. It is a privilege to be with all of you. I say this often, the perks of this job is to be present but interact with the future. And that's what we're doing here today. There are moments in the life of a university, just like in the life of people, when the ordinary rhythm of our days slows down. And you can almost feel history pause to take notice. Moments when we are not simply asked to witness change, but to build it. And I fundamentally believe this is such a moment. We are standing at the threshold of something larger than ourselves, something that invites us to imagine what higher education can become when courage and collaboration are allowed to meet in full daylight. And I don't say that lightly, nor do I just presume that to be the case. Over these past months, I've had the profound privilege of getting to know Kean University, not just as an institution, but as a living community of purpose and pride. I've walked your campus. I felt the hum of curiosity that lingers long after the classes has ended. I've spoken with faculty whose devotion to teaching feels almost sacred, with staff whose quiet care holds students steady through storms, both personal and academic. And I've seen in your leadership a rare conviction, the belief that education is not merely a pathway to opportunity, but a promise to the next generation. But what has been just as moving, although admittedly perhaps even more so, and deeply affirming, is how many of you have come to Jersey City to walk our campus, to meet our students, to listen to their stories. You've stood under the Gothic archways, where dreams and grit intersect every single day. You've felt the pulse of a place that has for nearly a century been a bridge between aspiration and access. And that mutual willingness to see and be seen is the heartbeat of this work. Because this work is not about institutional pride or prestige. It's not about logo or lineage. It's about people. It's about the student from Jersey City, Bayonne, and Union City who will now see 2 doors open instead of 1. It's about the single parent who can pursue a degree without dimming the light in their child's eyes. It's about the communities that have believed, sometimes when no one else did, that education remains the surest path to dignity and possibility. So when I tell you that I'm hopeful, I mean that in the deepest, most personal sense. I am hopeful that we are building together something worthy of the people who have served these universities with devotion, and worthy of the students who will one day say that this moment changed their lives. We're not erasing histories, we are weaving them. We're not replacing missions, we are renewing them. And we're not merging for the sake of survival, we're merging for the sake of legacy. This moment calls upon us to lead with humility, with heart, and most importantly, with humanity. To remember that our students are watching not just what we build, but how we build it. So I thank you deeply for your partnership, your expected patience, and your faith. The work ahead will not be easy, but it will be worthy. And when the story of this chapter is told, may it be said that we stood shoulder to shoulder, that we chose courage over comfort, and that we built something enduring, not for one institution, but for the generations who will inherit what we promise. Not NJCU, not Kean, but together. Thank you, and God bless you.
Okay, Andres.
Thank you, President Acebo. Before we start, I do see some people standing at the back. There are some seats up in the front. I don't want you to have to stand for the whole event, particularly down here. If you're interested in a seat over on the sides, If you have a seat near you that's open, if you want to raise your hand, people can see that. Folks at the back, you're welcome to walk down if you would like. Okay, well, let's get started. Like I said earlier, we did receive a lot of questions. A lot of them were related to the timeline, Dr. Reps, so I'm wondering if we can start there. Can you take us through where we are in the timeline, if there are any updates since we last met at the town hall in October?
So that's a great question. I think people ask often, what's the timeline? When is this going to be completed? And initially, the timeline was 2 to 18 months, 2 years to 18 months. However, after doing our due diligence and working with middle and finding out that this process can be done in a year and a half. And so our timeline was very aggressive, to be honest with you. I think that, and everyone knows who work with me and understand that it's about the sense of urgency, the urgency of now, right? And we knew that we can complete it. So right now our timeline is that we expected by end of June 30th, July 1st, it would be combined together to create Kean, Jersey City. So what we've done over the last few months, I think, is very important because it kind of keeps track. And so we've submitted a substantive agreement to middle states, and that was, I believe, in October.
Yep.
Right, October. So what does that mean? That means that it's pretty much the agreement that says that we're telling middle states and everyone else that we have come to a conclusion, we've done our due diligence, and now we're coming together to merge, right? And I think that was the most important part. Now, the second part for us is that we need to get legislative approval. And then the third part is that we need to get middle states approval. So we've submitted our report. Now we have to submit a plan as well, an interim, to talk about what is it going to look like academically, right? What type of pathways we're going to create for students who some of the courses that may not, in their subject and subject matter and colleges may not be available, because duplicity is important. And through those are some of the things, but right now we're looking to get something approved by the legislature. And then from there, that will happen sometime, hopefully during the lame duck session, because we need to have this done under this governor, under this administration, because this is the governor administration that actually proceeded to move forward with the merger. And then from there, we hope in the spring, I'm thinking April 26th, that we'll have some approval from middle states. And then once we do that, we have to demonstrate, as I said before, exactly, do we have a plan of action for our students? So at the core of this is really our students, right? Really making sure that we not interrupting their pathways to graduation. We wanted to persist to graduation. We want to retain those students. And so therefore we have been working honestly weekly with different steering committees to really look at everything from the student engagement, student life, to athletics, to academics, to operations, and to finance. So I want to thank all those individuals that have participated in these different groups, in these different committees, advisory committees, to be honest with you, that really came through for us and charting the path for that. So and if Andy, you want to add something to that, you're more than welcome. But so the timeline is that we expect by June 30th that July 1st we'll have Kean, Jersey City. But there's a couple of things we need to do. One thing is legislation. The second thing is middle states approval. And the first thing we did in October was submit that form that's saying that we agree to enter this agreement as far as merging. Andy, you want to add to that?
No, I would like to obviously also echo a sense of gratitude to all the hard work. We get to sit up here and comment on it, but both on the Kean campus and the Jersey City campus, in many instances and in many ways, the merger is already in effect, right? There's already an integration of culture and mission and focus, and I think that in particular is very, very important.
And so just let me just give some clarity for folks in the audience. When we talk about the mergers in effect, we're talking about, we have agreements in place, right? Something that we're going to start to roll out within the next few weeks, these shared agreements, which now says that, because part of the agreement for us in that definitive agreement is saying that we need to make sure that things that are happening on NJCU campus doesn't affect Kean's bottom line financially. And so that's why these shared agreements are important, because now it's more of an advisory role. And I make it very clear, Andy is the president of Kean, Jersey City. And until the merger happens, he will remain the president. And so I want everyone to understand, so when we're talking about an advisory committee, it's not saying that Kean is running NJCU, right? It means that Kean is working hand in hand in an advisory role to ensure that the actions in one place doesn't affect the other place. And so Andy and his team are still in place, but that advisory role is key for us. I think that's important because the one thing we talk about is not saddling, making sure that the impact we have has an adverse effect on Kean University and the work that we're doing. So that's why we've been working hand in hand with these different advisory committees to make sure that we can actually have a consistent message across the board and start to work together.
We also received a fair number of questions about scope. What does this mean in the greater context of higher ed in New Jersey? And so this student, Kean student Irvins Jules Vincent, asked, will this merger turn Kean into the largest university in the state of New Jersey? So President Acebo, you think you can help us out with that one?
Someday it will. That's the goal.
Great answer.
No, there's another school that we don't mention that holds that distinction. But we will, when all is said and done, become the second largest public university system in the state. And that's powerful. That comes with scale and resources that meet the aspirations of our students across our campuses. And that's something that I think we're emboldened by.
Mm-hmm. So something we have, Andy, that we call it the Kean Corridor. And this was before this opportunity for us to merge came about. And it's really looking at from I-95 all the way down to Kean Ocean. So we always talked about Jersey City, that area, Hudson, all the way down, hitting Essex. We started Essex, Middlesex, Essex, Union, Middlesex, Monmouth, and Ocean. And we call that the Kean. We even have a video we put a couple years back and getting on the bus, the Kean Corridor. So we got to reshoot the video and starting in Hudson County. But we always found ourselves, because when you're talking about, a system, right? And I think that we need to just understand Rutgers is a university system. They're the only ones really in the state of New Jersey that has a university system. There's Rutgers, right, College. There's Rutgers, Camden, and Rutgers Newark. And so we're now going to be able to say that we actually have, so geographically, right, they're in Camden, they're in Central Jersey, South Jersey, Central Jersey, and North Jersey. So with actually bringing NJCU on to the team, now we're talking about North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey as well. And so when he talks about the scope of the work that we're going to be doing, we will be the second largest. They have about 56,000 students. We're going to get there, and the goal is not for us to even try to become Rutgers. Just understand that, right. Because our mission statements and our vision statements and our students are totally different from what they're doing in the Rutgers system. So it's for us to create the best system that serves the students. And for us to have an impact as anchor institutions in Hudson County and anchor institutions in Union County, now we also have Ocean County. So we're now going to be able to serve and uplift communities. We talk about Cougars Climb Higher. We talk about doing that together. So for now, for us to actually serve New Jersey, right? And so when we talk about becoming an urban research university, New Jersey is designated urban state. And our mindset is always that we were going to be anchoring down in every community in which we serve. So this now will put some roots down, and for us to truly have that urban research identity in Hudson County. So that's really the magnitude of what this merge is all about.
This next question comes from an NJCU student. During the merger process, will NJCU be deprioritized in any way regarding student clubs, academic programs, opportunities, or other university resources? What is changing and what is staying the same? Dr. Reb, this student's covering a lot of ground with this question. You want to tackle this one?
Yeah, this student is very lucky that I got my Meta glasses. Meta AI, could you answer that question for me? Seriously, that's a great question, because I think that students need to understand that, talking about, what's the prioritization? Are they going to forget about us? So I mentioned at the first town hall meeting, NJCU students, we're doing this because I saw some of you in that student center. And I said to myself, who's going to advocate for them? And so to me, that was my why. So if that's my why, I cannot go back now and change my why, right? And so when you talk about prioritizing you, it's really you, right? And making sure that you feel a sense of culture, a sense of family. You have it there now, so we're not going to change that. We're not going to change. You're going to be more engaged, I believe, because now you have more programs that you have access to. Right? I'm very pleased to say that I talked about the last town hall meeting that we're going to be doing a travel learn to Dubai. And I kept my word when I said that students from Jersey City in NJCU will actually be attending that travel learn, and you are. So that means that there's expanded opportunities in our programs, and vice versa for students who they're studying programs in Jersey City. right? And so what we're going to do is make sure that we don't have duplication of services, because then that's a waste of money. What we are going to do is take the best of both worlds, combine them, and give opportunities and expand opportunities for our students so you can have choices. And that's what higher education is about you having choices. So for us, that's looking at programs, looking at majors that may not have been available, right? Looking at any type of social programs, fraternity and sororities, right? And so for us, that's the best way. So to me, this is the best of both worlds for students, right? And finding out ways to how do we engage you so that we can actually have transportation that goes back and forth. And we are looking at, we will have transportation going back and forth to ensure that if there's a program happening, right, we want to meet you where you are, whenever you have access to come to our campus. So we're going to be one university. And you're changing the game for us, to be honest with you, because now creating this new system, we're looking at what we've done at Kean Ocean. And we realize that we have to reimagine what's going on at Kean Ocean, right, under our new Chancellor, Dr. Joe Youngblood, and how we engage students there, because we don't want to forget about those students. So our moral compass and our key is always focused on you, right? So always remember that my decisions and my actions have always been focused on what's best for our students. We take pride in social mobility on both campuses. We take pride in our students' persistent graduating on both campuses. Now we're going to expand what we do for our student success and retention. We're going to expand those programs, because we have some programs here that over the last 5 years have really increased our retention and our attention and engagement to our campus. So you are our priority. And if it doesn't go that way, you let me know, because I'll make sure that as we start to reimagine this, that we have a voice in it. That's why we have the President's Advisory Council, because in that hope that you guys can join us. So hopefully in the spring, Ituna Balogun, we can actually have some NJCU students to be able to remotely come in and join it and become part of the President's Advisory Council, because your voice matters here at Kean University. I know your voice matters at NJCU, and it will continue to matter under this Kean Jersey City banner.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
So I really tried to take in the spirit of this Kean University community, right? And I'm moved by your motto, right? Like cougars climb higher. And I think one of the prospects and the promise of climbing higher is being able to see further. And what we pride ourselves on our campus for nearly a century is that we've been moved by a singular mission, that we enter to learn and we exit to serve. And Jersey City in Hudson County, the most densely populated, the most diverse community in the country, for a long time, for structural and systemic reasons, has not been afforded a lot of opportunity and resource. This is also something that is incredibly encouraging to me, because what I look forward to seeing, right, is the day, right, in this unified, consolidated university system where students can now avail themselves of one of the most dynamic communities, the most diverse, and whether it's from art and culture and science and the like, and business hubs, that it makes up Jersey City. That is a benefit that, with the right resources, not only will the students that call the Jersey City campus be able to enjoy, but the entire Kean University system and the student population will be able to take advantage of.
And that's vice versa for our students as well, too, because now, look at this, students. You'll have access to the best location that you can have if you're looking and aspire to work in New York City, right? In Jersey City on the Hudson right there. So we have this connection. So for us, if we do it right, if the adults that are in charge of ensuring that you graduate, persistent graduation, if we do it right, then this would be something you're going to be proud of. Because I know right now it's scary because it's change, right? What's it got to do with that? What does it got to do with me? And how's it? So there's a lot of questions that are going on that we probably won't be able to answer today. And I can tell you this, we will not be able to answer today, because we're gassing the plane and flying at the same time, right? Time is of essence. But we do know one thing. In our meetings, we always put students first and what's best for them. And we're going to start to grow. And it's going to grow, and it's going to grow with you as well.
We received a lot of questions about academics, right? The structure, what it's going to look like going forward. And I know that's something we talked about last time at NJCU, but I think it's worth talking about again today on sort of where we are in that process. Can you weigh in, Dr. Repp, on the question of what criteria will be used to determine what programs are consolidated or eliminated or their future?
So that's a great question. We take pride at Kean University in making data-driven decisions. We have data assessments, we have conversations. It's built into who we are, the fabric of who we are, because what we don't want to do is make decisions based on assumptions. And so as we start to look at that, we always try to get help, right? Because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So we partner with an outside agency to kind of look at exactly within internal committees and look at exactly our programs. But more importantly, though, we're really focusing on pathways, right? We talked about earlier about programs that fit into our portfolio, looking not to replicate that. We're looking at data to ensure that programs that have low enrollments, they kind of phase out or sunset out because that's financially is not feasible, right? And so we always got to think about the economics, right? Our fiduciary responsibility when it comes to running a university or any organization or any household, right? So we're looking at the programs and looking at the numbers, looking at the number of students we have versus the student-faculty ratio and ensuring that that fits into our model, comparing that with where we are in our programs, right? And then we're looking at pathways. It's important because a lot of students are taking different courses and having different degree pathways. So we're actually now looking at how can we make these pathways available to you that makes it easy for you to graduate. And so I'm going to put some microphones in here because I need you to kind of hear exactly the work that's being done, right, in these committees. See, we have an executive committee that we are part of, but I kind of want to hear from folks who are on the ground. So if I can't get some folks from NJCU, you might see David Burris or my provost here, or Mike Salvatore. Can you just talk about, maybe pass it to one of your colleagues to see exactly what are we doing internally, the nuts and bolts that you can get to answer this question? Because I can tell you right now, we haven't made a decision, but we're in the process. It's like we're making the sausage right now, right? And this is the hard work. I mentioned before, this is the hard work right now and making tough decisions. But remember this, though, it's always about data-driven decisions and what makes dollars and cents, and I think that's the most important piece. So David, Provost Birdsell, can you jump in real quick and make it kind of...
I'm always really succinct.
We all know our provost.
Time's up.
Okay. Let me go straight to the, I'm going to go straight to the applause line. Most of the programs that are currently active at Jersey City University will come over to Kean in some form or another. If you look at all the big, large enrollment programs, accountancy, psychology, chemistry, et cetera, we have counterpart programs here. So those programs will blend and merge in some ways. There might be a couple of differences in the academic programs, but they're not going to be substantially different. There will be some programs, as the President suggested, that will sunset. And those programs are those that have been low enrolled. Most of them are exactly the same programs that NJCU designated 2.5 years ago for sunset status. There are a couple of more that we're going to look at. But there are programs at NJCU right now that are very attractive to Kean. I think about your doctorate in educational technology leadership. I think about your MBA track in supply chain and ports management and many others that we really like and that will come over and now will be available to Kean students. So this is very much bi-directional. We're looking at programs that are mission consistent, that give students the optimal number of pathways to succeed, that are revenue positive, that give us executive program opportunities, and that become easier to do because if something's already approved through the state process and it's very close to what we're thinking of creating here, why create it anew? Let's just go ahead and use what we've got. So for all of those reasons, I think that you'll see that prioritizing that student ease and prioritizing what we can build together is what's going to make this work.
So now we also call on to some of our NJCU counterparts. So there's the provost over there that would like to speak about the process. Please hold on, microphone. If you would like to speak about the process of your, because what I don't want to do is sit up here and kind of dominate the conversation, because like anything, we see things and hear things from our perspective, right? And our decisions and our answers are from that perspective. And I want to give NJCU the respect, because we talk about transparency. And at times like this in town hall meetings, you're going to have some folks who may have different opinions. So let's hear from the provost there to see if there's anything that we said that may be different from their perspective. And then from there, that can begin the dialogue that we can actually have internally to make sure that whatever model we put in place will support you.
Donna,
No.
you have 15 minutes.
Okay. No, absolutely. This is very consistent to the work that we have been doing. 3.5 years ago when we were having to make very difficult decisions, we based it on mission, market, and margins. And those were the decisions we were making. And so we so appreciate that work is just being continued by you here at Kean. And then we've just really appreciated the opportunities we've had to work with Dr. Birdsall and with your team in making these decisions, and look forward to seeing what this will ultimately become. So thank you.
So Dr. Salvatore, can you talk about, I think it's important, because this happens to do with students, right? Well, will my credits transfer with X, Y, and Z? So let's talk about the work that we're going to be possibly doing, a partnership with an outside agency to kind of look at their transcripts, because we want to make sure that you are fully informed about your transcript and your progress to graduation. Dr. Salvatore?
Sure. So good afternoon, everyone. That's okay. I would feel a little better with...
He's not popular on our campus either. Don't worry about it. He's not popular.
Not true, Kelly. Don't laugh so loud. Good afternoon, everybody. And I just wanted to share this. The student experience is the most important experience here. So as our provost and NJCU's provost just spoke of, yes, there's a factor of decision making. But what we really want to do is work with students by rolling up our sleeves in that core advisement component, because it's not just first we identify programs, but then to our students at NJCU, where do you go from there? What's next for you? So our president has made it a priority. He's like, Mike, let's make sure the students get like a VIP treatment. Make sure they get this advisement experience that not only tells them, well, if you stay on this path, this is where you will go and this is how it'll happen. But give them options, maybe options that have never been explored before. In college, sometimes students change their major, right? Occasionally, once or twice or 5 times that happens, right? And sometimes that sets you back. What our president has said is, hey, Mike, let's make sure this experience doesn't set students back. Let's make sure it captures as many credits as possible by using a sophisticated algorithm to identify SLOs and your course experience, and tells you, you know what, you've been on this path for a couple years, but there are also some other paths that you can accomplish in the same time. So our goal is working with an outside company to evaluate transcripts, because certainly we don't have the capacity with our faculty, because there's 5,000 new students potentially coming on over. But we want to make sure there is a unique co-advisement experience where NJCU advisors are sitting next to Kean advisors and working with our students to say, here's some options for you. So this entire experience is going to be really about what's best for our students at Kean and at NJCU. Thank you.
Thank you. So the beginning, he likes applauses. Let's get. So during my opening address this academic year, I talked about artificial intelligence and the power it brings, but also talk about human ingenuity. And so today, this was just an example of what we're talking about, because these algorithms will spit this out, but if you don't have someone sitting next to you to guide you, that's the human ingenuity to ensure that this is not going to work. So I'm very happy you just got an example of what I talk about when artificial intelligence meets human ingenuity equals success, right? And so because we're not just going to just take the answer from Meta AI or from this generative AI, we're going to make sure that we verify with an advisor, someone who understands pathways to make sure you persist. So understanding that we're going to, so I just wanted to bring it back full circle from what I said opening day address, and it's an example of artificial intelligence and human ingenuity creating success for our students.
Or Keanu AI.
Oh, Keanu AI. I'm not, if it's Keanu AI, I'm staying away from that damn guy. Me and Keanu have issues right now. We're always doing some things. I'm looking forward for Andy and I to get together with Keanu and the Gothic Knight to have a conversation, because we need to make sure that they understand this process as well. Because those two rascally guys there, they can get out of control. I know Keanu can.
The Gothic Knight's a man of few words, though.
Keanu is a man of action. Trust me.
This next question really follows up on that conversation. We received several questions from both students and administrators and faculty about planning for classes in fall of 26, asking when are the class schedules going to be posted, when are the announcements going to be made, when will they know what modality their courses are going to be offered in?
So that's an excellent question, and Andy and I and our teams have been working on that. So I mentioned there was going to be a couple of agreements that are coming out, shared agreements. So the one most by Friday, I think my legal team, by Friday, we should have an agreement in place where we're now looking at support from an enrollment management standpoint. And I think that's important. And I know that behind the scenes, Scott Stone, are you here? Raise your hand, Scott. Guess he's not here.
There
Scott,
he
you in the
is.
back? Where's Scott at?
He's in the
Scott, and then Scott, what's your counterpart's name at NJCU? Okay, so can you both stand up for a second? Come on up here, grab the microphone a little bit. So just know this, that we are working now. We're working, yeah, come on up here together. Because if I'm gonna be in the spotlight, young man, you're gonna be in the spotlight too. So if the schedules are wrong, it's not me, it's them. Make it very clear. Look, get the names, look at them. If you don't have your schedule correct, see those guys, don't see Andy now, we're fine. So come on up here. Stand up here so everybody can see exactly who you are. So can you just briefly, the both of you, kind of just touch on the work that you're doing right now as a team? I think it's also a way for us to show teamwork, that we are looking to build a schedule right now based off of our needs. So, guys. Use your outside voice. Use your outside
There we go.
voice.
Okay. So, introducing Dr. Niven Sabu. He and our staff.
Hey, Mike, that's popularity, Mike. That's popularity. Just let you know. They was
For
like,
the record, it
"Huh,
wasn't for
tell
me,
it
it
to
was
us."
for my colleague.
Yeah.
So during this process, we have had the opportunity to really engage and look at both what we do here at Kean University, but what we look at and do at NJCU. And so really, we're at the point right now where we're really still in the early parts of these stages, but we do know the timeline is aggressive. And so moving rather quickly as we get to really February, March, April, when that registration period opens, is really making sure it's as seamless as possible for our students. And so I can't commend Dr. Sabu enough for his really hospitality and welcomeness. And at that, I'll turn it over to him, and we'll kind of go as we can here.
Yeah. So Doc, if you can just talk about really like, what are you doing? Because they don't really know exactly what you're doing. Like you can hear and say we're starting the process, but what does that mean, the process?
Well, the process is detailed, extremely, extremely detailed.
No, tell them, because I'm out of school already. You can tell them. I ain't got to take no damn classes. I'm good.
So, the registrar's office, everyone knows, is the nuts and bolts. We're behind the scenes. We're the inner workings of a clock, basically. So everything has to be done in place, so that way it does not impact student registration at all. And that's our ultimate goal. Do not be the barrier to our students. So we are in detail. Literally, Scott and I, we have a spreadsheet with maybe about 100 questions. Literally breaking down to the simplest form to make sure nothing impacts our students.
So thank you, gentlemen, very much. It also demonstrates that we're a team. I appreciate that very much. So you understand, so to answer your question, we're truly taking this process serious, right? We're making sure that not only are we working in tandem, I think that's important, right, to ensure that what's best, because we don't know what NJCU needs. And we don't want to go over there, to be honest with you, saying that we know everything, right? Because that's not my style. That's not this administration style. We're there to learn and to assist and advise and consent, right? Because you know your students, you know their needs. But we have some practices here in place that I think have been done very well and which allowed us to retain our students. I mean, I get weekly information on registration numbers. I know right now we have over 7,000 students have been registered the second week of registration. I know that 8,000, and I know that 7,000 those empty. So I'm understanding the numbers because I'm keeping informed. So we want to be able to actually have that conversation as well. So just wanted to let you know that they're behind the scenes, making sure that your scheduling for spring is fine, and also moving into spring to fall 26 as well. So thank you, gentlemen.
Can I add also?
Yeah, sure. Jump in there.
I want to shout out
Thank you,
Dr.
gentlemen.
Sabu also and the entire registrar team. And happy Veterans Day again, Dr. Sabu.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. All you veterans out there, thank you for your service.
Dr.
We
Sabu
appreciate
proves that when you want to get something done, you send in the Marines, right? So, and that's exactly what's transpiring currently. And I think the other benefit of this exercise is that both our campuses, both our universities pride ourselves in meeting our students where they are. And this deliberate exercise is with that in mind and in heart.
that the scale of our resources, whether it's leveraging Kean Global or Kean Online or our proximity, because proximity and equity and accessibility are intertwined in our communities, that's what's driving that work.
So now I know why the doctor is more popular than Mike. He served. Thank you for your service. Mike, I think we're going to have to sign you up for some military.
Enlisted.
Something. Enlist you right now.
This next question I know is near and dear to your heart. It's about research, right? And it comes from an NJCU faculty member who says, Kean is the state's urban research university and has an R2 classification from Carnegie. Jersey City is an urban campus where issues at the forefront include housing, poverty, gentrification, and more. All topics where our research can benefit the community. Yet NJCU has been without the resources to sustain research. What is Kean's vision for research? What will the new Kean administration do to support, incentivize, and celebrate research among full and part-time faculty on both campuses?
That's a great question. We practice what we preach here at Kean University, to be honest with you. You know, we and my faculty check me on this if I'm wrong. You know, 5 years ago, we had this big, hairy, audacious goal, and that's become an R2 research university in 2 years. And they had the same questions, right? Because prior to my predecessor, focus may have not have been research, right? Because so Kean's was making a transition in my mind, going from a regionally university to a national university, going from a teacher's college and looking at teaching, but now focusing on scholarship. And I think it's an important part is that I actually had to prove to them, right? And I saw all the time, if you want to know someone's priority, check their budget. And in that budget, that first year, we put $3 million aside for research, right? And that's to build an infrastructure and to provide resources and equipment for them so they can do the work, to provide release time, negotiating with labor, to look at release time, bringing back what the labor wanted, chairs, right, versus executive directors. So I think that we started to build the infrastructure. So we and then from there, we really talked about what is to be an urban research university, right? And how do you embed the work we do in the Watson Institute, the work we're doing in external affairs with Kelly Ledette over there and her team, how do we embed what we're doing into that? And for us now, you're looking at a great question talking about, you know, we now have an incubator. We have a location that's truly embedded in an urban community that has been dealing with urban challenges for years. We serve the same student, but our physical geolocation was not the same.
Right.
So now we now have this hub where we can call and say, wow, how do we go back and do your expertise? I mean, Dean Mooney, can you stand up for a second? Because I want to give an example of what we do when we're looking at a challenge, right, in the urban community. I'm going to get back to answering the question about the research, but I always practice what you preach. So Dean, can you talk about the work we're doing in the built environment, the Cove Sport program in Trenton, right, and how your students and your faculty are making an impact there, because they have the same challenges in Trenton when it comes to housing and housing needs and urban blight in Jersey City. Could you just briefly talk about that?
Sure. This is the Coalport neighborhood in Trenton, a very disadvantaged neighborhood where a lot of china and porcelain used to be made. But over the last 60 years, it lost 80% of its population. The economy went downhill. And we're working with great support from the Watson Institute on a grant-funded proposal to revitalize that neighborhood, not just in the physical form, but to bring jobs back, to bring education back, to bring areas where people can gather together, children can play, so that it really becomes a community, and not to leave behind the people who've lived there through this period, the 20% that have gone through these difficult times. They are an integral part to making this community whole again.
Can you mention briefly about the work that we just had faculty and students from Brazil come to campus to work on it. Could you just briefly talk about that? Because I want to talk about the global, the totality of our research agenda, and it's not just here, and it's also international as well.
Faculty and students working in Brazil with counterparts there through Sinai Cinetec, a university consortium there, looking at some of the poorest neighborhoods, the favelas in San Salvador, and starting to study how people live, to do the research on the qualities of their houses and how to make improvements to them. And it goes both ways. So we sent American students to Brazil in June. We had a delegation of Brazilian students and faculty here just last week. And this is just the beginning of, I think, a long-term relationship to work in this way This is the new global reach of Kean.
Thank you. Is Barbara George Johnson? Okay, so can you step in just to really talk, or someone from her team? Is anyone from her team can talk about this? If not, Joe, step up and talk about, briefly, Joe, talk about the work that we're doing. You know, academics, right? Let me tell you this. These academics, boy, Bill Calathis, you know, you academics can talk for days, right? And so sometimes I gotta let you know, okay, just 1-2 minutes equals 5 to 10 minutes, right? That's the So just talk briefly about the work that we're doing with the infant mortality that Barbara's leading from the Watson Institute and also for the state, because that also goes to show the research in urban communities. I want to give you examples of exactly the work that we're currently doing in urban communities and how this is going to just exponentially increase our visibility and research and opportunities in Jersey City.
Thank you, Mr. President. For over 3 decades, the Watson Institute has been the leading urban policy and research center in the state of New Jersey, focusing specifically on the issues that impact the urban centers in New Jersey that have often been forgotten. At Kean, we have leveraged the tremendous faculty and expertise that we have around a whole host of issues that are directly linked to the future promise and issues that we know are impacting urban centers. So the work that the President referenced around infant mortality, the city of Trenton, unfortunately, has probably the worst infant mortality and maternal deaths of any city in the state of New Jersey and also in America. The work that we've been doing for the past 6 years has really elevated that issue in partnership with the First Lady to create the first comprehensive universal maternal infant child institute that will be housed in the city of Trenton, providing insight into healthcare related issues, population health related issues, and also the issues that are needed to provide quality services to mothers and their infants to, again, eradicate this particular issue. Those are the types of issues that the Watson Institute has been working to address. And in this sort of framework of anchoring down, it is really our attempt to leverage the resources of higher education to be a part of the solution to the state's most challenging issues and those that disproportionately impact the residents of urban centers. So the work that we've already been doing in Jersey City, working with the New Jersey Urban Mayors Association, Jersey City is one of those partner cities, will now be enriched and enhanced as we leverage the resources of both of these institutions as we move forward.
So, as he said before, we're going in now. So we talked earlier about expanded programs and expanded opportunities, right? And so now we're looking at, we've created infrastructure. We're going to invest in infrastructure on campus. Well, we already have the infrastructure in place, right? And so now we're looking for opportunities. And as Joe said, that we're actually working with Jersey City, the mayor, to look at some programs. But I think it's important, though, for students, is Renat here? Or someone from Renat? So could someone talk about the work that we're doing with student research real quick, and how we're going to be asking you to be researchers and scientists and working side by side with our academics to make sure that. So priority-wise, we're going to budget resources to support students and what they can do to better make an impact in Hudson County. So this is another brother I got to let you know. This is a 1 minute answer, which we know that's really about 10 minutes, but one and a half, 5 seconds.
We're going to go 45 seconds here. Every single research opportunity that we make available to our faculty members, they in turn make available to students, involving you in the field, involving you in data collection, helping you to figure out how to analyze those data to come to powerful conclusions and turn them into meaningful programs for the community. This happens in the classroom, it happens adjacent to the classroom, and it's a powerful engine. Students here for accelerating and elevating your learning and your impact at a very young age on communities that send you pathways for the rest of your life.
Oh, what? He's truly so. You can find Provost Birdsell on television every week in New York City talking about politics happening in New York City. But I wanted you guys to get a sample of what we've done here to create this research ecosystem. And I think we're going to continue to expand, because now we have an ability to even expand our research opportunities, because there's things that you want to research. There are things that faculty, and we're going to have release time. All the things we're having here, we're going to have it there. So we're not changing anything. We're going to expand into Jersey City, into Hudson County particularly, and really expand our research for students so they can actually help be a part of the solution and not the problem.
If I can offer something
sure you can. Jump in.
To our students in particular. In September, I had kind of the impromptu opportunity to join your kickoff Board of Trustees meeting and see some student-led and faculty co-led
presentations to the board about a recent trip to Brazil. And one of the things that stayed with me, that I took with me and I gushed over with my wife about, look what's coming, was a young lady stood up that was part of that delegation trip, and she talked about being in rural, desolate, impoverished streets in Brazil, researching with faculty that are bringing them along the ride for this exciting work, where they're testing air quality and figuring out ways to improve that. And that young lady shared in her testimonial living with an ill parent who suffered with respiratory issues. And that research and the things that she deployed on that trip that she learned, she brought into her household in real time and improved her mother's health. Things that doctors, as they tend to do, right, because that's another systemic and structural challenge in our communities. When you're poor, black, and brown, you got to get more than one doctor's visit to be told, what's actually wrong with you. And that creates stigma and uncertainty to even seek help. But that sense of empowerment, self-empowerment, through that research, that you can sometimes have to leave your surroundings to get an outlook, but the most promising and most beautiful thing about this work of higher education is being able to bring that back home. And I want to say that to our students sincerely, that is what's driving this work, to give you those experiences, to give you those resources, so that you're not just climbing higher, you're digging deeper in your own communities, that you prosper in place, that you transform your household, your neighborhood, your city, your state, this country, one step at a time.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So to answer your question, I think that it allows us to pool our resources together, as I said before, for us to climb higher, and as Andy said, to dig deeper, to find answers to some of the most challenging and pressing situations that happen into folks' impoverished communities or marginalized communities. And so I'm excited about what we can discover at NJCU with Kean, Jersey City. So we look forward to even just, so that question to be continued, to be honest with you.
Now I'd like to turn to a question that I know is on many people's mind, and that's employment. Dr. Rep, at our last town hall, you acknowledged that the merger will bring changes to staffing and academic programs. You said layoffs are necessary to facilitate a successful merger and establish a viable campus in Jersey City. Can you walk us through how those decisions will be made and what the timeline looks like for any potential changes?
Okay, so remember I told you I'm going to use Meta, and I'm going to call a friend. Joe, you ready? Your human resources? You ready? Over there, my legal team, are you ready? If I say something that's inappropriate, not inappropriate, if I say something that I shouldn't say, now just buzz me, okay? But no, seriously, I mean, I don't take this lightly. I said people like change till it happens to you. Right? And so therefore, the merger and acquisition of NJCU to Kean University is real change. It's happening. Right? And in theory, we can talk a partnership and we can talk about this and that, but in reality, it's an institution that needs support from another institution in order for them to stay viable. Right? Can it survive? I'm sure it can. But will it be able to provide the resources, right? The programs, the faculty, the expertise from them to sustain themselves within the next 100 years of their life? And so we've been sitting around the table, the leadership team, met for 3 weeks in a row to tackle this question, right? What does that look like? But I mentioned earlier about what we do here as far as data-driven decisions. Because when you're objective, you can kind of take subjectivity out of it. You can take I like this individual because they got cool sneakers or they've been nice to me. We have to look at it from a standpoint of how do we absorb another public institution, this has never happened, without that institution having an adverse effect on our institution. Because as the president of Kean University, I owe it to my students to continue to provide the best programs, the best resources and supports they can. Right? That's my number one priority, to be honest with you. Right? I always say, but however, I need to look at the reality how will my new students, how would they benefit from this merger, from this acquisition, so that they don't see themselves in this rut or this cycle, right? And we don't want that. So we have to make tough decisions. So I indicated the first town hall that there will be changes. There will be a notification to folks that their positions at the end of the year may be terminated. But that's a reality. However, we talked about different levers that we can put in place that can kind of mitigate some of those losses. You know, speaking with Bill and his team and having Zaire work with labor. I see my brother from CWA. CWA, good to see you again, man. Thank you very much. And really, IFT and any other those union bargaining units, and we need to have some real conversations, right? You want that. If we're not having real conversations, then Kean, Jersey City, and Kean University will be in the same position we actually have in a few years. And I told my community and my board that I will not do that. So tough decisions will be happening soon. Notifications will be coming out soon. Because what I want to do is give you enough time and notification to find alternative plans, right? What I want to do is give you enough time to think about what the separation agreement may look like, right? Because it may be advantageous for some of those who say, well, maybe I don't want to travel to Kean Ocean to take a course, teach a course, or maybe I don't want to be housed in Union, New Jersey because I live in North Jersey. Maybe I'm just to the age right now where it's probably time for me to retire. I could have retired a couple years ago. Or maybe I'm going to do something else. Whatever your reason is, we want to give you the opportunity, because the more of those individuals that really look at alternative methods for employment, or may look at a package, may save someone down the line. So this is where we have to not be selfish. So I'm not going to say that we're not going to have changes. We're not going to have letters, but it will be coming out within, I'm saying, 60 days, right? Start notification. And Andy, you can correct me. You're the labor. So Andy, if I'm saying anything up here that you disagree with, say it, please, or you correct me. But it's going to happen, guys. I apologize. But let me tell you this. If we're intentional about reimagining what NJCU and Kean University is going to look like, then we have to be able to have some discussions in rooms. We have to make tough decisions, because what we create and what we imagine will be an opportunity for our students to say that they did the right thing. I wear this pen. I wore this pen today for a reason, and things that I do are intentional. And our pen said Kean University, and it says built to last. It didn't say built for now. It's built to last. So as the president of Kean University, I will say that I'll have to make tough decisions, because the end of the day is for our students, and it's to create a system that's built to last. And that system will require us to make decisions on layoffs, because we talk about duplicity. Now, we talk about, financial stability. We're talking about programs. I know we're going to talk about athletics today as well. We talk about, and these things are real. And I'll tell you this, I've always been the person to actually hit these problems and challenges head on, because I don't like to lie to you. I like to be upfront, because that's what I think integrity is, and that's bold leadership at times to say this. But yet, this is probably going to be the hardest work that I'm going to do in my career outside of being a commissioner during COVID, is right now making decisions. But what guides me are our students. So if I have to make tough decisions and do things I normally wouldn't do for them, my team would tell you I choose them over you any day. Anyone say anything, Andy? Andy's like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
He's the one.
No, I got a lot to say. I think this isn't about institutions, it's about people, like I said. And what is the greatest professional and personal joy of my life has been able to be in a position of hopeful influence and guiding an institution anchored in the very community that built me up, that shaped me. I know we got questions from alums. I think it's probably from my wife, right? Like this work is personal. Our campus, both union and management together, have weathered crisis, uncertainty, and what it revealed was the character of a community, an incredibly resilient, gritful community of people that know how to take on challenges, who know what it means to endure pain so that someone else can have another day. I saw that. You know, this campus weathered a lot of that. There's more difficult decisions, more to come. But the strategy was never about surviving. The strategy is to put us in a position to thrive. And that's what we're poised to do. It's not going to happen accidentally. It's going to come from deliberate, bold decisions. And what you're going to get from all of us in the midst of all those difficult decisions is that, and I say this to my union brothers and sisters, and my teammates and our students, so you will be treated with dignity, with transparency, with compassion, because you deserve nothing less than that.
So thank you very much, but let me give you something that I was gonna, my team knows, oh my God, what is he gonna say? The reality is that we have to balance a budget. And we're right now talking about $25 million to $30 million deficit to balance the budget. So the reality is you can't cut programs your way to get that number. You can't. And as I said before, my job is to make sure that Kean University is positioned and built to last. However, when we're making these decisions, we're not just looking at personnel. We're looking at a combination of different factors. We're looking at programs. That's why we talk about making data-driven decisions. We're looking at programs, right? We're looking at faculty that are in those programs, right? We're looking at appointments and reappointments, right? We're looking at all these things that, at the end of the day, comprehensively add up. We're looking at all these things that can add up to that number. You see, so right now, the sad part about it, we have to look at a number. And so from my standpoint, I have to look at a number. Because if I don't look at a number and go by my natural gut feeling of keeping everyone, then guess what? We all fail. Both campuses fail, and I do a disservice to my students. And those who know me know that when it comes to these students and their success, then we need to do what is right by them. So that's why when we have packages out there that may say this, and take advantage of it. If you're really, because it will save someone else down the line. Now, what I am going to pledge to all, though, right? NJCU, this is my pledge to you. My team's like, oh my God. I look at Zaire and then Kristen over there right now. My pledge to you is that there will be openings here. And we are committed to making sure that Kean, Jersey City's personnel will have opportunities to fill those roles. So I say this, if you get a letter, it's not the end all, the be all. There's options. And we want to make sure that folks from NJCU can interview for these jobs. Because remember, we have to get down to a number by June 30th, July 1st. But then we need to look at this gap, right? And it's a deficit gap. Deficit of talent, right? Deficit of personnel. And we need to make sure that we fill our coffers so that those students that we have, they don't fail. So yes, we have to subtract before we add. That's the math. Subtraction and addition. But however, along the way, we're going to treat you with respect. We give opportunities, and we're going to try to make sure that we can capture as much people as possible to ensure that we actually have a complement of services available for our students, whether that's looking at our faculty and our courses. That's why it's important that our teams are working right now to look at our fill ratios when it comes to our courses, right? That's important, right? That's why looking at programs that only have 2 or 3 students that financially we cannot sustain. The reality is we need to be able to sunset those courses so those students can graduate. right? That's why we have to take a hard look at athletics and making sure that we're not duplicating services. Because the way we are situated as an additional location, we've spoken about this. We cannot actually have 2 Division III programs in the same thing. Rutgers, and that is different, right? And that's a little more complicated. So we understand that the real work is happening now. This is how the sausage is being made. And we said before, everyone likes change that happens to them. Well, change is happening, and we're going to be respectful and responsible of you and making sure that we ensure that they have what they need so Kean, Jersey City, Kean system can be built to last. Thank you, AI.
Well, we've reached 4:15, so I'd like to transition to the part of the program where we will take questions from the audience. If we could maybe raise the light.
How many more questions do we have?
We have a lot of more questions.
Well, okay, so let's almost do like a speed round, okay? Is that okay?
Okay.
Because I want to
Speed
give
round.
people who actually submitted their questions an opportunity to actually hear from us. So this would be a speed round, almost like speed dating, the questioning. And so what we want to do is to be able to answer the questions quickly. I know sometimes I can get off on a tangent. I got something academic in me.
right.
We can't just go through it real quickly, and then from there, because I want to give you opportunity. I'm okay with time. If you have to leave, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate that. But if you stay or be patient, we're trying to answer your questions as much as possible. Try to give the audience an opportunity to be able to give some questions, and so we can answer those, if you don't mind.
All right,
Andy?
topic 1, adjuncts. We've got a lot of questions from adjuncts. Will the merger expand opportunities? How will adjuncts be hired and assigned? We have several adjuncts who wrote in to say they teach at both universities. So what's going to happen to them?
I think that's the promise of the leverage, right, is leveraging Kean's resources and technology and enhanced modalities. But a lot of this synergy and this consolidation is going to, the irony of it is that, you have to subtract before you can add.
Yeah, and the reality is that, so you're looking at how much we spend on average of adjuncts. I mean, correct me,
we
Mike,
spend about $11 million.
11 million. We spend about $14 to $16 million, I think, a year on that. So that's if you look at that, it's $26 million right there of just adjuncts. Now, we understand that adjuncts provide a valuable resource for us, expertise and skills and data, so we understand that. So as we said before, we cannot keep that number, let's be honest, it cannot be in 26.
Right.
Right, it cannot. So we need to, but we will make sure that adjuncts have the ability from Kean University to actually join our adjunct ranks to make sure we feel that responsibility. And so I don't mind spending money, and I don't mind us combined if we're around, we're around the 16, 17, 18 million mark, right? Combined, right? But it cannot be greater than that, because then we go back and put ourselves in a situation where we're going back and repeating the cycle like Groundhog Day.
That's right.
The next one is about the Senate. When will we have one consolidated Senate, and how will that be formed from the 2 institutions?
So I think I'm going to have James and and Bill. From a standpoint of the faculty senate, university senate, we call it here. What are your expectations for your units to have that? Because we understand the value of having our senate here, right? Because I think in the data they're the bridge between academics and administration in regards to what we can do as far as programs, how many degrees we have. So they're very important, and I also like having a voice. But let's hear from you real quick about the importance of you think a Senate is, because it's always, so James,
while I would love to hear from Bill, it's actually Dr. Donnellan.
However you pass it to.
I think we have the benefit of our University Senate president here as well.
Okay, so do we have just Craig is here, Craig?
Yeah.
Craig's not here, so anyone else from this University Senate team here? James, you're up then. If there's no question, we can just take it from our Senate president over there in NJCU.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Donnellan. I probably put in that question, by the way, so thank you. Thank you for extending
Thanks,
this.
John. Appreciate that.
Well, with my counterpart not here, we're basically, we both represent faculty and staff of our schools. And we want to make sure that both of us have the opportunity, and our executive committees, to be part of the future. We want to make sure that there are, combinations of our executive committee and the Kean executive committee to have one full, view of this great new opportunity that we're going to be having soon. So that was really my question is, I'd like to be able to sit down and continue sitting down with the Kean representatives of their Senate and start to map out what we would like to do going forward, and discuss that with our individual faculties when we have our Senate meetings. So that's basically the question. When will we be able to start talking mutually?
So I like the idea of advising consent. But as I said before, there's a process. And one thing my team will tell me that we go through the process. So right now we're trying to look at this. We're working with, Zaire is working with labor to make sure that, because I think we're going to get that in place first. And then we look at that. So yes, it will happen. You will sit down, but there's a chronological order in which things are going to happen. And right now, we need, with this definitive agreement, I know that there's going to be some opportunities where we're going to negotiate, right, James and Bill and Zaire, about the agreement as far as what we can and cannot do. And I think so. Make sure we don't violate collective bargaining agreements. And I'm sure within that, conversations about university and faculty senate will come up, right, as a part of that process. Zaire, is there anything I need to add on to that?
Everyone. I just wanted to hear myself speak. No, but I think you covered it all. I do wonder, I was just thinking out loud here, if maybe we should start having these conversations between both senates, maybe combining or creating some form of committee for them to have those conversations, because the honest truth is that you really are the experts on that one. So. Okay, so there you go. You see what happens? Your question has spurred action. So thank you very much with that. So we're going to have So Zaire and Kristen make sure that, Mike, make sure that we start to set up situations where Craig is not here, so you get to lead that charge. He's not here, he's here, so you get to lead that. So we have our presidents of the Senates that actually got to co-chair this and then come back and start to have that process. So thank you very much for you and your colleagues for that question. Thank you, guys.
The next topic we received some questions on was alumni. So how will this impact alumni? Will their benefits remain the same? Do you want to take that one?
Sure. And I think my wife submitted that one. So the pride that our students and our alums have doesn't go away. You will always be an NJCU alum. The benefit here, right, of becoming part of a bigger operation, a bigger university system, is that your network broadens. So the resources will be enhanced. But the pride and legacy will always be celebrated. That's something that I'll acknowledge from Dr. Repollet to his entire team. There's been a deliberative dedication, right, to honor and steward the legacy and history of our campus and our community. We're on the precipice of our centennial, right? In 2027, as we're ushering in Kean, Jersey City in its infancy, we're also celebrating 100 years of being deliberately anchored on the west side of Jersey City. And what this exercise is doing is building a really bold bridge to that second century. And our alums, who may have been disaffected or maybe not as engaged as we'd like them to be, will be given a really good reason to re-engage, to come home because of an enhancement of resource, a celebration of the stories that made our campus what it is. And then I think that's something that our alums should be really optimistic about.
So I actually think that's a legitimate question, right? Alumni, and so I know that the pride and tradition of NJCU or Jersey City College, the Greenville section, and that's why we did a report and study to find out exactly what does it mean to be anchored down in Hudson County. And so I think that's going to be an important question. So we actually have the ability. So Lizette Delgado, she oversees the foundation. Raise your hand, Lizette. So Lizette, from our foundation, how do we reimagine the work there? So I think that whatever dollars that being raised, Lizette, will go back to what we talk about, Kean, not Jersey, not Kean University, but impacting what happens on the campus, celebrating traditions, right? Because we don't want to ever forget that. That's why we're thinking about ways of adding a color scheme on campus so people can always remember that green representing the Greenville section. They have that. So we don't know what that looks like right now, but understand that we're going to be very intentional. I know we have to have the culture teams that are led by Tunu and led by Erica and Pia over there working around really to look at how do we make sure that our students are feel included, because they're going to graduate. these next couple of years, and they're going to be some of the first students to graduate there. So how do we maintain the pride of being from Jersey City, from being from Hudson County, and those folks who are internally can actually kind of support that as well. And that's why we have these, we have our regional chancellor down there is working with Kean Ocean. We have a WKU international campuses with Felice, and most likely we're going to have Andy that's going to, he's not going anywhere. So you can't get rid of us that easy, Andy. You're not going anywhere. And being a chancellor, so now they will be responsible, right, for really continuing that culture, because we understand, Joe, that's Kean Ocean is different than up here, right? They're a little more conservative. Right, we're a little more liberal, and Jersey City seems a little more progressive. I think so. We're going to have these different entities, and we don't want to lose our DNA along the way. As long as we stay true to our mission, which our missions are aligned.
That's right.
We can now honor traditions within those universities. So it's going to people like Lizette, when they're out there continuing raising funds, will think about, how do I set up alumni engagement programs? Working with Carol. Where you at, Caroline? You here?
She's not here.
Okay, she's not here, but working with our folks there to make sure that we can honor and respect them, because we don't want to do that. And how do we bring them together too, right? Looking at homecoming, looking at different functions, looking at, having athletics and stuff on campus, having festivals. So we always want to honor that, and we continue that. And we need your advice, students, really, and also you, Lizette, and our team to really make sure that we honor those traditions of Hudson County. And Andy's not going to let us forget, trust me.
This is the last question I'd like to address before we open it up, because I think it's a super important one. We received a few questions about scholarships, right? So students are asking, if I have a scholarship at NJCU, will it be recognized by Kean University?
Yes, yes, and yes. See, when it comes to students, I don't care about spending money, right? I think that whatever contract that you signed, if you're a student, with NJCU regarding academics, see, that's called access. Right there, we're not going to take that away. Incoming students will have a different scholarship profile and application than the current students. So we will honor that because we want you to persist to graduation. That's our goal. We want to retain you. So if you're coming, you're thinking about leaving, stay. You're not going to get You're not going to get a better bang for your buck here at Kean, Jersey City. You're not. Right? And we want to open our arms. We're going to welcome you. We're going to honor what you have, because we want you to persist to graduation. So the answer is that whatever scholarship that you receive from NJCU, we will honor that scholarship as well as Kean. And I don't mind losing those dollars, right? Because that's society sustainability is you persisting in graduation for us. That's what we want. That's what we're here for.
And what you just, I think what our students should take from that, and we've talked a lot about mission alignment, that's a testament to our values also being aligned.
Okay, so we're going to open it up to the floor at this point. If you can, I ask that you stay in your seats and just raise your hand. Someone will come to you with a microphone. If you can try to keep your questions as concise as possible.
I knew Bill was going to raise his hand. I knew it.
We're going to start with the students up here in the front.
Hey, Bill, we're going to start with the students first. That's what we do, right? I know you chomping at the bits.
We have our SGA president.
Great.
SGA president right there?
Yeah. No, behind her.
Behind her? Oh, yeah, I met her on the tour.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
Law school bound.
Okay. I'm not sure if I missed it while you guys were answering questions, but I just wanted to confirm or deny whether or not Kean students would be able to take classes on NJCU's campus the same way we have the option with Kean Ocean.
We didn't talk about that, but that's a great question. And so it's one university. Yeah. So if course offerings is available for you to take courses over there, we would love that, honestly. If you live near Hudson County and your course is available there, why not? We want this campus to be flourishing. We want the campus to have people engaged. And so that would truly make us one university.
Yeah.
So when Mike talked about, programming, and we talked about pathways and courses and stuff, one of the things you look at is offering courses that are available on both campuses. May not have the many courses you're going to have on the main campus, but we definitely want to have that because we want people to go back and forth. That's how you create one campus, right? Not just, if you're in NJCU, you got to take all your courses. No, we want to try to make it to we have that, and that's going to allow us to be able to have a more robust student engagement program and academics across the board. So thank you very much. But yeah, Kean University students will have access to take courses at NJCU as well. Sections, yep.
Do we have another question from a student there in the
What
middle?
about the young lady right there? Hold on, right there.
Right there.
The future lawyer, student SGA president.
Hopefully. Hello, everyone. My name is Andres Aguirre Aguilera. I am the Student Government Association president for NJCU. First of all, we're really happy to be here, very excited for this merger. I just want to take the moment to highlight our team and all the students that make this possible. Right here.
I like her.
If the Student Activities Board can please stand up just for 1 second. Fraternity and sorority life, please.
Okay, greets. Okay, greets.
Our student ambassadors. Thank you. And the rest of the NJCU students, please.
That's awesome.
Thank you. So, as you all know, NJCU has been an institution that has served many students and continue to serve many students currently. Our main concern as NJCU and as students at all is our representation on campus. We are students with more than 1,000 students, not just 500, 200. We are many, and we are there. This is something that I want to say with all the love and support. We chose NJCU. We could have come to Kean if we wanted to, but we chose NJCU for a reason. That's our home. That's the place that we have found our people, our community, our second family, or even our first family. We just want to know, how is that going to look? How is that representation? You all state that you don't want to duplicate services. We understand that. But we have our orgs, our clubs formed already. We just want to know, how are we going to promote that representation on our campus? You want us to come here, but we want you to go over there and see what we have to offer too as well.
So if you look at, I don't know which one is a Kean student and NJCU student.
Exactly right, yeah.
And I'm standing around, I'm looking right now. Let me get a better perspective, right? And so I hear you, and I'm glad you said that. But if I look around the room here, I can't tell if who's a Kean student from an NJCU student. And see, that's when we talk about course, when we talk about alignment of vision and mission. Right, so we're very diverse. Kean student is NJCU student is Kean student, right? And so we want to have that. And I think the young lady talked about taking courses. So we're not trying to say, because you have a program, we're talking about duplicate academic programs, right? But if there's a differential in programs, we want to enhance that, yes. We want to make sure that if there's something that's happening on NJCU campus, because remember, we're one university, we're different locations. So for us, if a student finds that the life over there at NJCU campus may be what they feel, then guess what? We have an opportunity to maybe live on campus over there. We're not stopping anyone. You might find, we have a student over there at NJC that may be like, well, maybe I want to get away from home a little bit, right? But still, I can catch the transportation back and forth, but live in Union. So that's what we want to create. We want to create that because it is one campus, one university, and one student body. So we're not going to forget why you chose NJCU, right? We want you to understand that opportunities for you will be expanded if you choose to take that. If you choose not to and you stay in your bubble insular, then we won't have that campus. But I'm very confident in the work that we do as student affairs here. Pia, raise your hand as student affairs over there. And we have been demonstrating working together. And I think sometimes you got to look at that as well, right? Look at, okay, what's the history? From day one, when we talk about this merger, the first thing we did was put our folks out there to make sure that students, you've participated in our career services, participated in our HBCU games. So our thing is this now, and I'm sure that we're going to participate in some of their things there. So we are creating this, right? And it's not going to be easy. Everyone's going to have their own fiefdom and their turf, right? I'm SGA president here, I'm SGA's president there. But at the end of the day, though, they're voted on by the body. So we might find a way where you actually have a representative or a student government president on that campus sits on our council. So but I'm gonna let you guys decide that. Right. Right? I'm gonna let the young people, right, the student, because you guys are clearly incredible, intelligent, and you probably come with ideas that we don't have. But we must have these adults that are sitting here that oversees the process to put the process in place so you can make a decision what's best. So I'm not going to stand here and my team and me and Andy to tell you what you need. You're going to tell us what you need. However, we're going to make sure that we have the resources available so you can do those things. Okay, so and then eventually we'll be one together. But if you're any indication of how we're going to blend our talents together, then I'm more excited than I was 3 hours ago. Thank you.
Any other students in the group in the back?
Back to young lady. No, right, put my hand up there right there.
Can you raise your hand? There we go. We'll start here and then we'll go over there.
Hello, how are you? I'm a student at NJCU. I just want to know, will tuition increase? Will it stay the same? I think as a community, we are comfortable with what we have, but we just want to know what's going to be the word.
Well, Kean University has the lowest tuition.
And we matched it.
Yeah, I said Kean has the lowest tuition in the state out of comprehensive four schools. So you might actually get some money. But and I talked about your scholar. So it's not really. So let me just tell you, it's not the dollar. It's what you're going to pay when you get that tuition bill, right? So each and every student may have a different financial obligation, right? And so as I stated before, whatever financial obligation you actually have now currently, now will there be an increase in tuition every year? Of course, we're not saying that we're not going to increase in tuition, but tuition is not going to be so different to where you're going to lose money by saying, Kean University merged and I'm losing money, because you're still going to get all your benefits available to you, whether it's TAG, whether it's Pell, whether it's scholarship, whether it's merit pay. All those things are going to still happen from you. Now, incoming students may have a different tuition obligation based off of scholarships and things that may be afforded to them as you afford it to you.
I will add, though, and I'll get in trouble later. That
Now, get in trouble now. We like good trouble. John Lewis, we like good trouble.
Your tag allowance from the state will actually go up because
can,
Kean is a research university, so your financial aid allowance from the state will be enhanced.
So as President Acebo said, there's also benefits of joining us.
Correct.
And as a research university, we get X amount of dollars for tuition aid grant. That will increase. We get X amount of dollars for scholarships. Right. So we'll be in the same part with is Rutgers, Montclair, and Rowan, right? And then now Kean add to that. So we're going to be in the mix. So that, like I said before, there's advantages and there's disadvantages for those, but there's going to be a lot more advantages and positives by this merger going together for students.
Agreed.
There was another
great
question in the
question.
back, I think. Right here in red. Jen, behind you. Go ahead, backward. Right there.
Yeah. Did you ask? Yeah.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Alea Harden, and I just had a question. I don't know about everybody else, but I had a feeling that a lot of us were worrying about with the major how this is going to affect financial aid, not just like what you said earlier about Pell Grants and state, but like within the school, the financial aid programs that we offer as a school, like how is that going to affect how the merger is going to affect that? Like, for example, when I came into NJCU, the reason why I chose this school is because of the programs that they offer, like the OSP/EOF program, Education Opportunity Fund, things like how they offer help with housing, tuition, how they books and things of that nature that we need for classes being covered with our tuition. I'm just wondering, are any of those things going to change or go away possibly with this merger?
So the financial aid, I guess, regulations are across the board, right? And so for our students, we have students who receive support. We have an EOF program as well. That's called one of the TRIO programs, and it's throughout the state. So and I am a proud graduate of the EOF program, summer '89, Trinity State College. So the programs that we mirror each other, that are the same, we talk about duplication, so we're going to still have the programs. Like nothing for you is going to change, right? Especially if you're an existing student financially, right? So when it comes to financial aid, that's financial is based off of what your family income is. So I can't tell you that your financial aid ain't changing under this administration, right? But I can tell you that there's resources available that we're going to make sure that you can have money to cover books, because remember, our students are very similar.
Yeah.
Like we really have almost the same. If you had a cane across your chest, I would sit and say it's a cane student, because the cane student asks the same question, have the same situation, the same financial obligation needs. And so we're going to continue that, because at the end of the day, though, it's really about you persistent graduation. And my team will tell you that we mean it. When we're talking about this, we've changed policies in the last 5 years to make sure that our students have affordability. Right? I know one of the things about the books, we have Muhammad. Is Muhammad here, Hassan? Well, we actually have open source, but we have opportunities for our students can take classes and have books available to them online versus not. So we're always finding a way to make sure that you have the best possibility financially to graduate. And we talk about access and affordability. It's the same thing we talk about on both campuses. Mm-hmm. And if they mess with you with your money, you come and talk to me, okay? You tell me. You sit and say, that guy sit up there and say, I'm the one that messed with your money. You come and tell me, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for everything that was shared thus far. My name is Venita Rodman Jenkins. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I direct the Spiker Rubin Women's Center for Equity and Diversity, and I've been the director there for the last 13 years. I've also had the honor of starting our Safe Zone program, and I'm the confidential victim advocate on campus. I, however, am actually one of the ones who chose to accept the voluntary separation from our university, meaning that I will be moving on. But as a result, students, staff, and faculty have asked me what will happen with the center and what will happen with the work of ending systemic oppression on our campus. So my question to you is, what will happen with our center and what will happen with the work of the center, particularly given federal mandates? I've been in conversation with gender equitable centers, women's centers across the country. Many of them are being shut down. Many of them are being isolated and marginalized on their campuses. So I want to be able to support folks as I make my transition. So my question to you is, do you know what will happen with my center that has been on campus for the last 53 years, and what will happen with the work of ending systemic oppression?
So that's a great question. I'm going to go back to my statement. NJCU student is a Kean student. A Kean student is an NJCU student. So the same issues that you face on a day-to-day basis, we face the same issues on our campus. Part of our core values is equity, right? And so we understand that we have to be compliant with federal mandates, because I mentioned during our family time and town hall meeting last year, I talked about being smart. You know, we have 36% of our students are Latin origin. So we need to make sure that we don't put such a spotlight on our students that when they leave our campus, they're camping outside. Right. But we're going to continue the programs we actually have, whether it's changing a name from diversity to belonging, right? So we're going to continue this center. I don't know your center personally enough to tell you that I just sit up here to say we're not going to cut. No, but if there's a service that's on a campus, it may fall under a different division, on a different leader. Of course it's going to be, but anything that's serving our students and our students' needs. I mean, we talk about anti-poverty. The things we're doing right now, I was just schooled by my chief diversity officer, my chief well-being officer, on what the role and responsibility of Kean University when it comes to individuals who are losing SNAP benefits. Right. So we're constantly have people on our team that's making us aware of this stuff, but it's part of our mission. It's a part of our core values. So tell everybody who's in your program, who's there, that when it comes to equity, when it comes to inclusion, when it comes to belonging, Kean University will always support that, because that's part of our history, that's part of our core values, and we've done some things on our campus that I would love to be able to have the teams to talk about what you're doing. And as I said before, bringing resources together, right? Having the best minds together so our students can actually have a safe space and safe zones. We have it in our belonging office. We have it in Cougars Connection. We have it in our wellness center. So we have different places that we have. It may have a different name, but I can guarantee you that there's a program, there's an office that actually fits into that. And we're saying that we can have that office. We're not trying to go in and change. You know how I shouldn't say this, but you know me, I'm going to get myself in trouble. So I always mention that this is not about colonization. It's not. We're not coming here to change who you are. We're coming here to make sure that we can partner together to ensure that those students have the best possible opportunity to change the trajectory of their lives through persistent graduation and increasing social mobility. And we are advocates of that. And so we look forward to actually joining forces. And we have some incredible folks that are already working on these things. I'm not quite sure if they got to the office yet, but what it is, but please go back and you can tell. I'll be telling people, we're going to have offices and we're going to have opportunities for our students to have safe spaces, to have conversations, to ensure that we can actually social justice is part of our DNA. And so we're going to continue to work with you. So yes, we're going to have an office, we're going to have a space, and right now the goal is not to change your name. The goal is to work together to make sure that we provide services to our students so they can take advantage of that. Andy, you want to jump in?
Hi, my name is Shemaya Houston Burton. I'm a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and I wanted to know what is the future of Greek life when it comes to this merger.
I'm glad you brought that up because as a fellow Greek Phi Beta Sigma in the house, right? And so therefore Greek life is important here. And I love Kean University because we have such a diverse group of fraternities and sororities on campus. We have from the first multicultural campus to the first Latino and Latina fraternity and sorority in the country. And we now have 5. You're talking about Divine 9. We actually have 6 out of 9 on campus, I believe. 7 out of 9 on campus. And hopefully with AKs coming aboard, we might have 8 out of 9, right? Yeah. So we really take hold of Greek life because Greek life is a part of campus life. Greek life is I don't care what fraternity or sorority you're in, it's always about service. It's always about brotherhood, sisterhood, service, and scholarship to what you do. So we're going to continue that. That's a part of who we are. Kean has a rich tradition when it comes to our fraternities and sororities. We actually have our own campus life. Is anyone from our campus can talk about our Office of Student Government? Do you even have anybody? Wow. I can't believe that NJCU brought a whole group of folks here in this student government. And do we have anybody from student government? Then let's get up there and talk about what we do when it comes to student and Greek life. So who's oversees the Greek life here from the students? Let's get a student perspective. There you go. Sit back and let your president take all those arrows. What's wrong with you? Let's talk about, thank you. Let's talk about our rich, vibrant.
So I'm looking for somebody from Greek life, but right now we do have our SGA president here, so.
Hello, everyone. My name is Favor Oyalade, and I serve as the SGA Executive President at Kean University. I just want to start off by saying that we are so excited to, welcome NJCU with open arms. And when it comes to, in terms of representation, our mission remains the same as for, SGA and as for, all the opportunities on campus where we want to make sure that student voices are heard and that they're advocated for. So when that comes to NJCU, and we're bringing them, and integrating them into our campus life, it's very important for us to know that we are looking forward to, working with you and hearing your thoughts and your perspectives on your campus, because we're not trying to, take over what you have. We're trying to work together. We're trying to collaborate with each other and make sure that this merger works out for the benefit of us and, our student life and our the impact that we make on our campus as well. So.
Thank you, and I'm sure that the way the SGA president holds her president accountable, our SGA representation hold us accountable too.
We also have here our director for the Center for Leadership and Service, who's going to be representing Greek life and have some conversation about that.
Let's let it be organic. Let's let it be organic. I don't want to put a time on it. Let's let it be organic. People leave, they leave, right? I want it to be organic.
Hi, everyone. How are you? For the past few weeks, we've been meeting with NJCU. The Center for Leadership and Service oversees Greek life and fraternity life. We've been meeting with Dr. Weaver. Where's Dr. Weaver? Right here? He's in the back. You see him in the back? Dr. Weaver and I have had... Yeah.
The second time I met Dr. Weaver was at our sneaker ball. Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Weaver, come down. Let's go. Come on down. Yeah. So as he makes his way down here, we've been meeting for the past few weeks trying to discuss and trying to make sure that our Greek life is seen on both campuses. And what we've been doing is between our Greek life coordinator, Oscar, and Ashley, we've been having weekly meetings with our sororities and fraternities, our nationals, making sure that they understand that we're one campus, two different locations. They have to understand that together we're going to complete the mission of becoming one university. A lot of times the chapters are going to be having tough decisions and deciding if they're going to keep, for example, alpha chapter, beta chapters, or decide to unite the chapters. And those are tough conversations that we're having now.
Thank you.
So,
good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I, too, am a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, along with President Dr. Repollet. But as we just stated, Greek life is very important to us. What we want to make sure is that the institutions are working together, the chapters are working together, allowing them to make the decisions that are best for the students in the chapters so that they exist and flourish on both campuses.
Man. That's a Sigma man right there. That's a great Sigma answer. Don't let that Kappa speak. Don't let that Kappa speak.
Also, we wanted all the Greek life to understand that we are also Greeks. I'm a sister of Lambda Tau Omega Sorority Incorporated as well. So, yeah.
Good. The Kappa always want to try to show up the Sigma. You see that, Frat? You see that, Frat?
All I'm going to say is thank you very much.
Do we have any other questions?
Any more students, please?
Christina, can you help us in the front?
Because we love the fact that you're engaged and have questions. So our staff and faculty, please, we're going to answer your questions as well. But to me, I'm more excited that our students are engaged and inclined to answer a question, to ask a question. So yes.
My name is Anthony, and I'm an NJCU student. I'm a business student. And my question is, Kean University is a AACSB accredited business school, and NJCU Business School is not. Will the merger make NJCU and AACSB accredited business school?
The answer is yes, because we're one university.
Right. Oh,
so it's Kean, Jersey City would be an additional location. It'd be the same program. So yes, so we talk about elevation at times. Certain things will be elevated to our status. So yes. And you get a chance to go to China with us as well, to participate with our folks in China.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Gladys Rebolledo. I am currently a senior at NJCU. Me, personally, I am a dreamer. I would like to know what this merge would do to the dreamers, because I chose NJCU because it was the only college that gave me a chance to go to college. This is my home, and this is the only, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
You could have chose Kean University as well.
Sorry?
You could have chose Kean University, but we are
right.
a multicultural.
But that was closer to home.
Yes.
However, we have a Dreamers Club. It lacks a lot of resources. You know, I want to know if we're going to expand that with the merge. You know, it's really important for dreamers to know that they have a chance out here to be somebody. Me personally, I want to become a doctor. And although I know my chances are really limited, I want to know if this could help my chances, or like whoever.
Oh, definitely can. Andy?
So thank you for choosing us, because that's a choice. And so I thank you. That is personal to me, right? Particularly, and you're talking about proximity and accessibility, right, to your promise. I do think that this will be enhanced, right? This isn't just about, again, aligned mission. It's about aligned values. So one of the things that the Kean University student experience will be enhanced by is one of the things that I'm particularly proud of is how much we've invested in resources and commitments to you and your classmates. We are one of 4 institutions to be partnered with the Dream.US that provides private scholarship up to $35,000 per student towards the cost of attendance at a public university. It's a very selective means based on your population. That'll be something that will be enhanced and incorporated into the broader Kean University system. There is no cap on, no pun intended, on what is afforded to our students, particularly our dreamers. But I want to kind of go outside. You said something about your dreams to becoming a doctor, and that might be limited. The fact that you're showing up on a Wednesday in Union
to talk about the future of this university. Your future is not limited because you showed
Amen.
up.
Amen. Preach it, good Reverend, preach it. And so just, I'm gonna have Carlos stand up because we started some things here on campus. We are a Hispanic serving institution. So understand that we have dreamers, we have anyone on the Hispanic or Latino diaspora that's on our campus. And so, but one of the things, we also have partnered with Latino Action Network, we partnered with different groups. And so I want Carlos to kind of talk about that because I need you to feel that joining forces with Kean and merging this acquisition is going to be beneficial for all students, not just because we look at it all, but he's going to give you some opportunities of what we're doing.
Thank you, Dr. Repollet. And yes, being just like NJCU, a proud Hispanic serving institution is so important to us. And I'll emphasize the word serving. That is in our DNA to serve our students. We have many, many students who identify as dreamers here on this campus. And Dr. Repollet mentioned a short while ago, Kean is a birthplace to many advocacy opportunities, including for the Hispanic community, the birthplace of the first Latino and Latina fraternity and sorority in the country. And many have followed in those footsteps. But also in 1972, we were the first of the first program in the country or the first university in the country to develop a program specifically for Spanish-speaking students. What that meant was that if you weren't proficient in English, you had an opportunity to come here to Kean University and engage in a 4-year degree program where your first 2 years you took all your courses in Spanish and slowly transitioned over into just regular coursework with your English picking up, and you get into your core classes. And so we're really, really proud of that. Most recently, we designed and developed the CRECE, the Hispanic Leadership Center here on this campus, and we partnered up with another organization called the Latino Action Network Foundation. All to say that we continue to advocate for our Hispanic populations and beyond. It was in January where we had Dr. Repollet joined by the Attorney General for the state of New Jersey, where we had a Dreamers Resource Fair here on campus that was attended by about 250 individuals from the community as well as the university. So we are committed to that. We also have the Latin American Student Organization on this campus. And just a few months ago in September, during the opening ceremonies for Hispanic Heritage Month, we were joined by President Acebo. So we do so much to celebrate the culture here, not just for Hispanic students, but for all students. But in this case, I just wanted to make sure that you understand the importance of our Hispanic students here at the university. Thank you.
Just so you know, Kean University had the first Puerto Rican president in the country, Elsa Gomez. So that's part of our DNA. But also, it doesn't just stop on campus. It also stops when we start to build the pathway. So Sonia, Izziara, can you come up and talk about Project Adelante? Because I want you to get a sense, those students who are really wondering, okay, I'm Latina, are we going to change DNA? No, I think it's an enhancement in what we're doing. Just talk about Project Adelante and what it is and what we've been doing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am the proud director of the Division of EEI. I'm also the director for Project Adelante, which is one of our pipelines into the high schools and the preschool to a space, introducing the students into the college life. We have Project Adelante has been here as a program originated here at Kean. It's been here for 38 years now. Through Project Adelante, we create a pipeline for students into our program, our Supera program, that is also one of our programs here that my colleague, Dr. Rodriguez, just mentioned. Our students have the opportunity to learn what the college life is about, introduce them to all the career paths that we have available for our different partner districts. And right now we have 7 partner districts are taking advantage of that, and close to 250 students that every year are exposed to everything that this university has to offer.
So now they'll be exposed to NJCU as well. So I wanted to say, I'm not going to sit and say enhance. It's going to complement what's already being done at NJCU, because that's their history as well too. So when we're talking about like-minded institutions, mission alignment was one of the reasons why Kean stepped up to the plate and said, we can do this because of our students, the demographics, our faculty and our staff, the pride that we actually have in the communities and to whom we serve. So we look forward to making sure that you become the doctor that you want to be, because that's what you want. Thank you.
Any other questions from students?
Couple more, we want to make sure we get, I want to make, Bill, we're going to get there, Bill. Want to make sure
I
the
see you,
students
Dr.
get,
Clathes.
when we see you, Bill, I understand you, it's almost like double dutch, you in and out, right? We're going to get you. We're going to get you.
Student, Kean student, but during the mixer, some people asked me how the Center for Student Persistence and Success at NJCU is going to change, because obviously I work for the Center for Leadership and Service. So we kind of do stuff that's like a little bit similar, so that's why they asked me some questions, and they also asked me some things about CougarLink and events at NJCU. So I don't know if you want to briefly touch upon that.
You just briefly touched upon that, right? And I think that you know about that more than I do, I can say. But honestly, though, we're gonna continue to, and the key word you said was that they've asked questions and we've been engaged. That's the most important thing. So we're not going to stop that right now. We're going to continue this because it's an evolution. It's a transformative way of looking at things and how we can bring some together. It's going to be two like-minded institutions with individuals to come to solve problems and to come to solve. You guys are going to have the solutions for us, not us, right?
And if I can add, that doesn't end on July 1st, 2026.
No, it doesn't.
Right, like that work continues. A culture of continuous
Evolution,
improvement,
yeah.
of meeting our population where it is. There are challenges that haven't even emerged yet, right? But what we are committed to is being poised to taking it on.
How is it that my daughter's walking out on me? How is it that my own daughter is walking out? Thanks for the support. I appreciate you, honey. Thank you.
I heard the I have class. I heard it.
My daughter's a student here, so.
Hello? Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm a student at Kean. So mine is a two-part question. My first part of the question is, I work on behalf of Cougars Bite, which is the student life media team. So this question is for you, the president of NJCU. Do you have like NJCU equivalent of Cougars Bite? And the second part of my question is, I'm also the historian for the Filipino club here at Kean. Shout out Funk. My second part of the question is, would you like to tell us some of the cultural organizations you offer at NJCU that we could potentially collaborate with in the future?
Sure, so student media is very involved on our campus. The Gothic Times, who uncover everything on the third floor of Heffern Hall. Got a lot of embedded sources. So yes, so that I think it's a great opportunity for there to be cross-campus collaboration there, and particularly for our institutions to be really like using student media to address the issues that transcend the gates of our campuses, right? And being really involved and highlighting the things that happen in the surrounding community. Print media is, under attack, right? It's shrinking, and journalism, right? The fourth estate in our country is in the proliferation of misinformation. I think that that's a hallmark of civic engagement, and I think strengthening that cross-campus, but particularly in Hudson County, New Jersey, and that'll get me in trouble with some of the elected officials who are probably watching, right? having strong student voices and that are factual-oriented, right, driving this, I think is a great opportunity. And as far as cultural clubs and associations, that's at the hallmark. As Dr. Rodriguez pointed out, we underscore serving in our designation. Hispanic serving institutions, a designation that may be under litigation at the moment. We were those things before the federal government recognized those things. We will continue to be those things even in this moment. And I think that that's something that should be stated here. We both represent minoritized communities. We are both proud minority serving, Hispanic serving institutions. There's been a lot said about the historic nature of this merger. And it is true, right? There isn't really a blueprint to be followed, but we're creating it. But it's value-centered, it's mission-aligned. It's to center your lived experience in and outside of the classroom. And that's something that we take great pride in on our campus. It's something that I think, Dr. Rep won't use the word enhance, so maybe compromise here. We will amplify jointly.
I like
right?
that word. Matter of fact, that's in my book. That's in my book. That's in my book.
We will amplify your lived experiences in our curriculum, in our research opportunities, because this is the thing that I love most about our community. Jersey City, right? Our country's celebrating 250 years next summer. The World Cup is coming to New Jersey. And what I've always found and marveled about Jersey City and Hudson County in particular is that when the world comes to our community, it finds that the world's already there, right? And I think moving together, taking that global outreach that Kean has as a brand and as influence, and bringing that in, doubling down in our community, so that, again, we're amplifying your lived experience and the decisions we make, the things that come across our table, is something that you'll find classmates cross campus that will amplify one another.
That's a drop the mic moment right there. Almost nothing to say. Any
Jen,
other
did you have
student?
another question over there? Okay.
Hi, I'm Monroe. I'm an NJCU student, and I'm a commuter. And I was wondering, what is that going to look like in the merger? Currently, we have, I think it's a 25% discount on bus passes, and I was wondering, is that going to continue? Is that going to maybe increase? How is that going to look like?
No, so we've been having those conversations, and my team know that. You said 25%. I was looking at student fees paying for transportation fare across the board, right? Not just 25%. So we're looking at all those things. We want to make it easier for you to not only commute to your campus, but to commute to this campus, right, as well. We also want to find ways through our educational offerings by offering global online. Right. Our Kean Online program, so you don't have to really, on some of those days, have a hybrid approach where you can say, you know what, I can take a class at home and I can also take a class on campus as well. So that will kind of mitigate some of the transportation you may have. But I'm looking at ways to where, and this way I want to get myself in trouble, right, is looking at ways to make sure that each and every student can actually have access and actually have a bus pass or metro pass back and forth that Kean University, Kean, Jersey City pays as well too, and this is what we're going to have to do. So this is our way of saying, you know what, because we want you to go back and forth our campus. I mean, we have a train station on campus, that Union Station there that goes right to Newark, and from Newark to Newark to the Path. So there's access to get here. And we have students that are traveling. I mean, our house students travel all over the North Jersey and Central Jersey to get here on campus. And so we understand that having an additional location might be an economic challenge for our students, but we're going to find a way. We're going to find a way to make sure we meet the needs. We're going to make sure, if you're trying to get to this campus, young lady, we're going to make sure you get to this campus. If you're trying to get to a campus, we're going to make sure we get to a campus. That's why we partner with the foundation. That's why we partner with Cougars Connection. That's why we partner with organizations that can support you to persist to graduation.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brenda Logan. I'm also a student at NJCU.
And our voting student trustee on the board.
Yes, I'm on the board of trustees as a student representative. Yes, so I'm also a graduating senior, and I'm an accounting student, and I honestly want to advocate for the accounting department. I feel like it's my duty to do that. I'm a part of the 4+1 program at NJCU, which is an amazing program we have for business students in accounting. And so I just wanted to make sure or ensure that that program is still going to keep running, because I'm an undergrad student, but I've been completing graduate courses, and I will matriculate into the graduate program and get my master's and, you know, make myself, my mom proud and my family proud. So I just want to make sure that other students behind me have the opportunity to do so.
We have a master's program, we have an undergraduate program, and we have
CPA.
Do
you have a CPA program, right?
David?
Right? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yes, right, so that's another.
So when you talk, and it was President Acebo was talking about, you know, enhancements or amplification. When you have opportunities, that there's going to be some things that you have that we don't have, right? That Kean University students will benefit. There's going to be some things that we have that you don't have that Jersey City University and faculty staff will benefit as well. So this is our CPA program. So yes, we're going to have pathways. We're going to do X, Y, Z. If you want to go and get your master's in accounting at Kean University, you're going to be able to do that.
Yes.
So I think we're going to now look for the, we got one
Sorry,
more.
just one more.
It's the last one. Then we're going to get Bill Calates over there doing the double Dutch, back and forth. Can I speak? Can I not speak?
Okay, hi guys. My name is Jordan. I'm a Kean student here. I actually am here with Office of Residence Life. So I was just curious because I know that I believe NJCU just opened up another dorm or residence hall on their campus, and Kean has 7. So I was just wondering, like, are you guys anticipating an influx of house students? And if so, how are you going to ensure the stability of the housing contracts for our current residents?
I mean, so matter of fact, we're at about what we were started the year at a 90% occupancy level, so that's great for us. We would always like to have open seats and open beds, and so I'm looking at NJCU's numbers. They have availability there as well. So that's when we're talking about being one university, having the ability to have dorms opening up and beds opening up in other places as well. So I'm sorry, residence life, not dorms. I apologize. Right, has resident life available for students. So we can accommodate every student that we have. We're currently accommodating, and every student that's at NJCU we can accommodate as well, because we still have a bunch of seats that are available. And yes, we can. We also looking to even include our students who may not want to stay on our Kean campus, that may want to stay at the campus in NJCU because they feel that's closer to home and have the ability. So we're going to work out that. I'm going to leave it up to those guys in student life on both sides to kind of come up with that. But we anticipate that students can have options, right? Yes. We have options, and we want that. Is this faculty and staff?
Yes.
Bill, can she go, Bill? Okay, thank you, Bill.
What? No, you're fine. So you should start with Bill. I should start with Bill? Yes, because I was going to mention the union, so okay, you'll start with Bill.
But I want to say this, students, I am so happy that you stayed engaged with us and you asked questions. To me, we can hold the program up, we can extend the program for an hour. I don't care, because you guys had an opportunity to voice your concerns or ask a question, and that's what we're here for. So thank you very much, students. Let's give the students a round of applause for that. That's how you make your voices heard. Thank you.
First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Bill Calathis. I've been a criminal justice professor for 38 years at NJCU. So I know a few things.
He's kind of popular, James.
I know a few things, but let me just tell you a couple of things. I'm going to borrow a line from President Repollet because this might get me in trouble. Because I want to take a couple of minutes and just talk about my feelings.
He likes trouble. Just trust me. He's looking to dive into that trouble.
Yeah, but it's about feelings. First of all, at 38 years as a professor, this day couldn't warm my heart more than it has, because students have been the focus of this town hall. And the fact is that we know that students are the focus of our lives, and that to empower students and to give them the education, the opportunities that they need in order to make a substantive difference in the world, especially from a social justice perspective, is critical. So the first feeling is that my heart is overflowing, really it is, with love and joy today to actually know that this meeting has been centered on students and hearing the voices of students, which is really amazing. Okay, but I'm also the president of AFT Local 1839. And I do want to say that I bleed labor. And it's very difficult the last few years at NJCU, having experienced an administration that put us into debt for all sorts of silly reasons, and to understand how it's been almost like, and I've said this to administrators here at Kean, I feel like I've been an emergency nurse in a trauma unit, because we have given up salary, we've experienced retrenchment, and we have really suffered as faculty members, as professional staff members, as people who have been working at NJCU. So that type of trauma, again, I mean, I used to be a organizer for the International Ladies Garment Workers Union. I've been a union organizer, and I've worked for human rights all around the world. I've been in prison in three countries because of my human rights work. So I actually bleed social justice, and I'm looking forward to actually having us campuses together. But I will say that to hear about cuts really does hurt me. It does hurt me, and I know that President Repollet is a fair individual, and I know that we've been working with his team to be able to talk about those things, but I just want to mention 3 things real quickly. Number one is, because we have suffered from a disproportionate amount of legislative allotment, right, allocations, that, you know, we have a whole harmless bill in the legislature, which may not get out of hearing. We have provisions that we've written for the Kean Act and for the Kean merger, which may not occur, right? So we've been trying legislative efforts because we defend labor the way we defend our students. And the other thing to mention is that because we have actually suffered so much, and Kean has been so massively successful, that maybe there could be some, I don't know, allocation of grace in terms of keeping some jobs maybe that maybe would be quickly cut, knowing that we have suffered so long, for such a long time, that maybe we need a little bit of a time to join the success bandwagon that we know we can work together to actually have, together as a unit. I think that's really important. And the other thing to note is that when and if those layoff notices come, there's another element that's still involved in that, and that's impact bargaining, which means that there is a legal opportunity for the union to get together with the administration to actually fight for jobs. And so I just wanted to remind everybody that when I'm sitting there hearing about layoffs, of course I understand the reality of the merger, and actually want to thank President Repollet for stepping up and actually doing what he didn't have to do in order to save the university at NJCU and to have a wonderfully successful partnership together. We're grateful for that. I'm personally grateful to that, certainly. But also, understand that, labor matters in a very big way. And, every time one person loses a job, a little part of me is taken away. And I've lost a lot of sleep over the last few years. And that's okay, because that's my position, is to lose sleep, to fight for my members, and to fight for labor. So I just wanted people to know that. I'm overjoyed by this merger. I'm overjoyed by the opportunity to work together with everybody and to actually work with a larger group of students that are really on the ball when it comes to things, and working with the administration to actually make this one strong university together. So let's not forget our students, but let's not forget labor either. Thank you.
Great words. I'm so glad you said that, because these are opportunities we can have honest conversation. If we're going to be a family, we need to have honest conversation. One thing you said that resonated with me, we were talking about the sins of the past administration, or financial sin. Okay, that's NJCU's reality, right? That's not Kean University's reality. And the one thing that I pledged to James, our local AFT president, James, stand up, wave your hands, James. He don't want to stand up. I guess he's afraid to be able to. James, please stand up, because people don't know you from NJCU. Thank you. When I got the job, I talked about my method for sustainability. So because we brought in over 150-something new faculty, tenure-track faculty, which we pledged to do over a 5-year period of time. And the goal was, I don't want to bring people here to lay them off. That is not right for those that lay. So we have been conservative in our budget approach. My predecessor, I continue that. We've been very conservative so we can ensure that any subtraction of faculty will be based off performance, will be based off something, but not based off a reduction in force. So yes, we're going to be a time we can negotiate, and that's the process, and I'm looking forward to that. But the reality is that I also promised the board, I pledged to my students, faculty, and staff that the impact of this merger will not have an impact on them. And it's not fair as the president to say, I'm going to sacrifice those at another university versus those at my university. So as you fight for what is right for your constituents, I applaud you. But we're going to fight for the rights for our constituency here. And we're going to come to some agreement, because we always do. And then we're going to leave that room feeling okay. There's no celebration on the loss of employment. But there's a celebration of the fact that we will create something that will be sustainable and built to last, based off of principled, student-centered, and business-principled, and making sure those principles allow us to continue to thrive, because I'm not going to allow Kean University to have an adverse effect based off of my decision as the university president to support another sister institution. And so we're going to have those conversations behind the scenes, but I owe it to James and his constituents. I owe it to my students to fight for Kean University. Because until we become one, right now we're still two separate institutions with two separate presidents, two separate boards, and two separate financial portfolios. Right? And then that moment that we come together, now we're talking about sustainability. Now we're talking about financial decisions that's going to support what we want to do for our students to persist to graduation. So I welcome the opportunity to talk with you. I welcome the opportunity to present levers that we can kind of pull on those levers to mitigate some of the loss of employment. But I also told you we're going to do it fair. We're going to have the ability for folks to apply for jobs here that won't open up to the public. It'll open up fair first. So there's going to be a way for us to absorb that. But right now we have to cut down in order to build. And that's my mantra, and that's what I'm going to do. And so we're going to be there behind the scenes fighting for what is right? But I'm going to be fighting hard for Kean University. Yes, sir.
I'm
sorry. You definitely have, yes.
Yeah, so I'm Barbara
She was
Hildner.
first, but she yielded the floor to Bill, and Bill was a gentleman to take it.
Right. So I yielded the floor to Bill, and I'm glad that I did. I've been at NJCU longer than Bill has, and a lot of the questions have concerned what is the role of people, what is the role of students and student unions and whatever. And I have the same question. What do you see as the relationship to the unions? So I know that when President Repollet came to Kean, I was talking to union people when they first met them, and they were so relieved and grateful that he had arrived. And oddly enough, I was at a meeting yesterday with other faculty, and in our conversation, they spontaneously talked about how they admired and liked Andy also. So I'm going to ask, what is the roles of the union going to be? Because I think they have a point of view which is important. And so you talked about the issue of retrenchments. There's ways of retrenching and ways of retrenching. It's not always the same thing, and it doesn't always have the same effect. And we're going to feel that, I think, more than Kean will feel that. And I encourage the union to have a voice, not only in this, but in other important areas which affect their work. Almost everybody who can be a member of our union is a member of our union. And I think as we go forward and come together, it will leave a lasting impact on all of those people who are union members, whether or not their voice and participation in the process is heard. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that question, and thank you for your service, really. I think that as an educator myself, lifelong educator, and someone who has been in a union, a bargaining unit, someone who's actually led as an administrative unit, so I understand what we need to do. I understand what union and how important unions are to their constituents. There's a thing that I talk about with James, right, James? You can correct me. Collaboration is co-labor, right? And so and here we've developed this labor management model that, honestly, your president of the National AFT has actually had James and I speak in Boston together to talk about that. We've actually spoken at a governance thing in Washington, D.C. So James and I have kind of been the poster child of what it can be, right? What collaboration, co-labor together. And so we understand that there is a need for that, because I do think those folks sometimes when you're talking about need to have a voice, they need to have a voice, and we respect that. But we also have this thing where we respect each other enough to talk and have discourse at times, but always think about the bottom line of our students and what can we do. And some days there's going to be a win on James' part. Some days going to be a win on my part, and I'm okay with that. But it becomes when the wins add up on one side too much, then it means that we're giving up too much. But I always like to have a balance of how we do this. And folks who have worked with me understand that if it's for students, I'm great, because that's the hill I'm going to die on, right? When I always talk about adults, we can always solve adult issues, right? We can. But if I think that our issues and our actions will have an adverse effect on them, then that's where you hear me. So technically, if there's an issue, I always talk about my team with Zaire, who leads our labor unit, and Kristen oversees our general counsel. We talk about respecting labor to the point to where we need to be mindful of their collective bargaining agreement. My goal is not to violate that. Now, it comes times when we're actually working that there's misinterpretation, and that's where you get grievances, right? Because sometimes grievances come out, and a grievance is not bad, because then you can actually find out what is the right answer based off of folks who are objectively in this process versus folks who are entrenched to where they think is right or wrong. And so labor will always have a seat at the table here at Kean University under this administration, because I think it's important. And I think that if we didn't have the relationship we've had with labor, we wouldn't have done the things we've done over the last X amount of years. We wouldn't be an R2 Research University. We wouldn't have the financial stability we have. We wouldn't have hired all the faculty we have. We wouldn't have actually had release time. We wouldn't have actually department chairs. Well, the list can go on and on and on. And these are accomplishments that James and his unit and my unit have come together because we understood one thing. We're all in together. My success is James' success. James' success is my success. Because we have already observed what it is to continue to fight one another, you become stagnant and can become complacent and nothing ever materializes. But if we work together, this is not the Congress. These are not Republicans. We don't look at it when it comes to, what's the word? I forgot the word when it comes to really working together. What's that word, Dave, when you work together, whatever?
Bipartisan?
Bipartisan, right? Yeah, so for us, we're okay with that, right? We're okay with negotiation. We're okay with concessions, as long as the balance of the scale is always equal and not one-sided. I hope that answers your question, and thank you again for your service.
Good afternoon, soon to be good evening, I suppose. My name is Joe Moskowitz. I'm a professor of political science at New Jersey City University. I am also the chief negotiator for AFT 1839, so I guess we'll be talking.
Yes, we will. Zaire?
And we know each other already.
Size him up, Zaire, size him up. In this corner.
And I'm happy to say that over several years, we have had a very good working relationship with President Acebo. We look forward to that type of nature of relationship growing out of this merger and acquisition. And as much as we advocate for our faculty members and our members, we also advocate for our students, and therefore I have a question about students.
Yes.
So I have a few students in one of my classes who got into NJCU, who applied to enter Kean, but were not admitted because of a weak academic performance and record. And they wonder, after this merger, those students who were able to get the access to NJCU and all the opportunity that created, and were not able to get that at Kean, what happens when this acquisition or merger takes place? Will those students that NJCU has created opportunities for still have opportunities in the merged Kean University, because we advocate for them too?
That is a great question, Mr. Professor Moskowitz. That's a great question. And we have been talking about that question a lot. And even in our cabinet meeting today, we talked about the question. And so when we're a part of a family, it's different, right? So right now, I can honestly say that we are two institutions, and your admissions criterion is different from my admissions criterion. And that's okay, because but when we start to become one family, now we start to take on characteristics of both universities to create one. So we understand the need that serves Hudson County. And we will continue to serve Hudson County. We're not going to reject students that would not get into, because I'm sure NJCU, they don't accept everyone, do they?
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, but we're going to continue to work with NJCU to make sure those students have the ability to come to our campus. We're working on that, really. And so, because we don't want to lose students, we don't want to lose why NJCU exists, right? And the history of NJCU when it comes to access, right? And so we understand that. And so we're going to continue to, and we're going to make sure that our students who are incoming students to Kean, Jersey City have access to Kean, Jersey City and Kean University, and those students who are currently there. And so we have a program we have called Bridge to Success, and Dr. Bailey just left, and she oversees that program, where we take students that probably fit the profile of NJCU. However, we don't have the budget enough to go beyond X amount of students. But guess what? Now we can. Now we can expand that program to make sure that we catch more students that's in that range. And so what does that mean for NJCU? That means that additional supports will come your way, because we understand that our students in our Bridge to Success program, along with all of our students, may need additional supports in place. So we are committed, I'm gonna go on record, right? We're committed to have a robust, comprehensive support, retention and support system at NJCU, so all students at NJCU and Kean University together, Kean, Jersey City, in that location, will have the ability to persist to graduation with access, affordability, and equity.
Thank you very much. Wanted to introduce myself and clarify a point that President Repollet has made as well. I'm Bruce Waltuck, and I am a proud adjunct professor here at Kean. For 8 years, I teach negotiation and conflict communication, stuff that's highly relevant. Kean is one of only 2 universities in the state that has a separate union for adjuncts, us in Montclair. I am the vice president of Kean's adjunct faculty union. Do we have any adjunct faculty from Kean or NJCU in the room right now? Oh my goodness.
Back in the back.
Oh, okay, I'm seeing a couple of hands going up. So as I'm sure our students know, and certainly our administrators know, it isn't just at our universities, it is nationwide that adjuncts do make up the majority of faculty. We have some adjuncts who do have the letters PhD after their names and do grants and research. I'm very proud that I was one of 2 adjuncts who was asked to come and speak to the AACSB panel in getting us this R2 accreditation. And I work with full-time faculty on grants. The question that I have, and one of the concerns, is an issue that we had raised earlier, which has to do with what we know will be the impact on some jobs and the criteria for assessing how these decisions will be made. And we are hopeful, as Zaire and others know, that the dialogue with the union regarding these decisions and perhaps input from the unions as to what the criteria will be for, all right, we will keep this person and not that, we will assess performance in this way. You mentioned about collaboration, and one of the things I teach my students, we human beings don't communicate, we communicate. And it is essential that we continue to communicate. Thank you very much.
Well, now, I might have to, I'm gonna use that.
I'm gonna use that one.
So let me give you the reality. $11 million adjunct budget, right? And about a $14, $15 million adjunct budget here. That's $25 million. And so if we look at the hierarchy of what we talk about our faculty, right? The priority, I'm not gonna say priority, so don't get me caught out there in the words, but we have our faculty, tenured faculty, full-time faculty. And these are folks who've acquired tenure over the years, have faculty appointments, have positions and rank. And then we have our lecturers, and then we have our adjuncts. We all know they all serve a purpose, right? Understanding that. But we're going to look in that order, to be honest with you, as we start to really look and build this faculty, right? It's going to start in that order. So just to be honest with you. And then from there, people will have an opportunity, because we all understand the value that adjuncts add to any institution. So there will be opportunities for adjuncts on both sides to apply as they would normally apply, But those who are Kean University are already here, so you don't have to reapply. But we're going to have a criterion in place. And these are some of the things that we're going to have some conversation with anyway to make sure that we do it right. Right? So just understand that there will be a hierarchy in regards to how we fill in the ranks, right? It's going to be full-time tenure ranked faculty. That's it. Then it's going to be those folks who are on that tenure process, right? Those ranks. And then it's going to be lectures, then it's going to be adjuncts. So we're going to find out. And then eventually the goal for us, as we said before, is we need to make sure that we can cover our courses. Because that comes with enrollment. And so right now, if you look at this and you combine our faculties, and you combine our student body, that we probably can cover what we can at NJCU at Kean University. Right? If you look, how many undergrad students you currently have? About 3,000?
4,000.
4,000 undergrads. So we can probably absorb that with what we have here with our lectures and also the addition of NJCU staff as well too. And that's going to be how we look at to prioritize, right? And there's going to be opportunities through our sections of making sure that we be very honest on how we fill those seats, right? Looking at the collective bargaining agreement, how we can fill. Look at those folks who have, if they have any types of classes where they dismissed from classes, I don't have classes available because they're ranking with the union. So we have to look at all these different things, and then we start to look at exactly how can we fill the rank with our lecturers, and the lecturers, some of them have 2-year contracts, multiple-year contracts, how we need to look at those things. So it's a lot of things that we're looking at right now. But right now, to be honest with you, if I have to prioritize it, I'm looking at that from there. But we do understand the importance of having adjuncts. And adjuncts will be at Kean, Jersey City, Kean Union, Kean Ocean. They will have adjuncts there.
Good afternoon. My name is James Castiglione, professor of physics at Kean University and also president of the Kean Federation of Teachers. I want to follow up on one of the points that my colleague, President Bill Kalathis, made about impact bargaining. And just to remind all of our members at Kean and our colleagues at NJCU that our statewide collective bargaining unit, the College Council, has already filed a demand to negotiate with Kean and NJCU over the impact that the merger will have on your terms and conditions of employment. And there's a particular subset of our collective bargaining unit that I think is very concerned about the potential impact on them, and that's our often overlooked professional staff colleagues. Now, I say often overlooked, but not by our students, and we know that our students appreciate the work for the student support services that our professional staff colleagues provide to them. They're a critical link in our students' progress to graduation, but they're concerned that when offices are combined, that there may be reshuffling of personnel such that some professional staff, and this will apply to some faculty as well perhaps, may be assigned some days at Kean and some days at the site at NJCU.
All right, for a second. Thank you, students, for coming out. I appreciate you. Look forward to having this conversation. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause because they took a bus here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, students. Clearly, there will be a lot of students at the NJCU site who will need those services. Will the university sit down with us to negotiate agreements to try to find co-laboration approaches to deal with these concerns of our professional staff colleagues?
What do you think, James? I stop it. Bill, thank you very much for complimenting your relationship and your work with him for the last X amount of years. He will never get up there and say that we have been working together collaboratively for the last few years, even though we share the stage in his national conference about collaboration. So, Bill, I look forward to working with you. I look forward to negotiating with you and your labor to really look at all these issues there. James, that's a different story. And my partner over there, in the TWS, I look forward to really working with you. So the answer to that, James, you know the answer. The answer to that is that, yes, we will actually have a seat at the table, and we understand we received the request to negotiate, and our team is already looking at, and you know the answer. You know that we're going to do that, right? But however, when we're talking about financial stability for our university, Kean, and you already know this through conversation we had, James, is that I indicated that I did not want to have any Kean faculty, staff, and employee impacted by this merger, and I mean that. So yes, we're not talking about performance, evaluations. No, we're talking about based off of this merger, I was committed from day one not to have any faculty and staff impacted by this merger because it's not your fault. So when we sit in these agreements, Bill, James, Professor Moscow, when we sit down to talk about this, you already know what my mindset is, right? Because we did not get ourselves in this predicament. We've done everything we said we were going to do to make sure that we are doing the right thing financially for our students. We've been very, very conservative, and we're going to continue that principle. And then once we agree that we are going to do this and become a family, and once we agree on it, then now we start the healing. Now we start the loving, and now you start to understand that I'll protect you just as much as I'm protecting Kean staff as well. So the answer to that, James, is yes, we will sit down and negotiate with both units for what's best for Kean, Jersey City, for Kean Union, and for Kean Ocean. So you have my commitment and my pledge that we will always do it in a manner that's respectful and work together. So I hope that we can play nice in the sandbox as well.
All right. Anybody else?
We over here.
Last chance.
I'll CWA.
Hi, my name is Dawn Worley. I'm CWA president here at Kean University. Do we have any CWA members here? No, everybody's going.
Yeah, one back there.
We have one back there.
Alicia.
I'm just, John Polk was here earlier. He's
Yes.
our state rep for CWA Local 1031. And we represent staff, not professional staff, just staff, general staff. We are Communication Workers of America. John just wanted to let everybody know. He wanted to thank the president and his administration team for working with us and moving forward, continuously working with us in reference to the staff here at Kean University.
Dawn, thank you very much. And I can honestly say, and so let me just give you, Bill Collatus, a sense of who I am, and Professor Moskowitz, a sense of who I am. And so, and CWA, remember the conversation we had with CWA and the president of the statewide CWA, and I advocated for increased pay for the entire staff, right? Everyone. I wanted everyone at a certain level. And what the response was that we have to get to that level because we can't do it contractually. That's who you're getting in NJCU. It's someone who's saying what's fair is fair. And so for me to buck my system and to say that that staff should be at a certain level and not below that, then shame on us. So that's who you're dealing with. You're dealing with someone who understands fair, because some of those folks that are staff members look like me. And so when they talk about equity, when you talk about fairness, I'm always going to fight for what is right. Right? So when I talk about I'm student-centered and business-principled, that comes first. In every job I've ever applied for, on the top of my cover letter, it said, people are the greatest asset in any organization. So when you understand that, I do. When you understand having that humanity, leading with humanity, I understand that. And there's going to come a time when in a place where we have to go in these closed rooms and have to have these conversations. And they may not be productive at first. You may have some discourse, some disagreement. And that's what I hope. I hope you fight like hell for your constituents, because then we're going to fight like hell for the university, right? But if we understand one thing, that at the end of the day, when we leave that room, we leave with our head up because we understand we did it in good faith, right? And we understand that if we don't win this battle, we'll come back, because I always talked about it's about winning the war, right? And so sometimes we're going to give and take and pull. And yes, I do have a heart. So when it comes to actually looking at actual layoffs, we understand that impact is going to have. That's why we're going to put things in place that you're going to sit and say, well, damn, at least he thought about this for us. Because the reality is, we want to build something that's different. And by doing that, you have to have collaboration with labor. You have to do it in such a way where our students can see this. And we have to model the way, because this will not be the first and the last merger and acquisition when it comes to state schools in New Jersey. I can promise you that. But we want to be the gold standard. We want to be the model. So those folks that are out there that like to do research, I hope you're researching this, because this is going to put you on someone's stage in conference talking about the work that we're doing here. So we understand that this is the challenge, but this is the problem we talked about at the last thing. This is the sausage. The definitive agreement is signed, right? The Kean Act, the legislation that's going to put us together as a university, is in the process of being built, right? So this is but this is the hard part, right? And this is the part that I enjoy, because that's the journey. And so I look forward to having these honest conversations. I look forward to advocating for our universities, for constituents, because at the end, I already see the end. I already know the outcome. I know. It's going to be something that's never been done before, historic. And we're going to blend two cultures, two campuses that have rooted in pride for their community, that anchor institutions. And we're going to both sit up here in leadership. And I want to commend Andy, because there's always a, quote, winner and loser in acquisitions, right? There is. But I've seen a good friend of mine, Marquita Evans, who was the president of Bloomfield. And I've seen what she did for her, how selfless act was she, to give her a round of applause. Her selfless act of putting her school first over her. Andy is doing that. And when I mean he's fighting for you, trust me, he's fighting for you. He is. But he understands that he doesn't need to be on the wrong side of history on this one. The car's already left the driveway. We're en route, and we're pulling up. And so with that being said, I want to thank you, Andy, for really just understanding that there will be changes, right? And you doing it begrudgingly, because you understand it's about them. It's about the legacy 100 years. And we're going to tell the story about how you have sacrificed your position, your influence, to make sure that Jersey City get the best that they can get out of this deal. So I thank you, my man. All right? I'm going to let you have the last few words, all right? You can take it home for us, because you're very poetic. Because Andy told the governor the other day on our trip to Mexico, he said, Governor Murphy, and he was talking about the merger. He said, Governor, how you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. So I don't know what that means. So Meta AI, what does that mean, Meta AI? Hey, Meta. So please bring us home, brother, all right?
Thank you. So thank you for that, sincerely. This, the spirit of labor, right, is also about love at its core. Like, this has been deeply personal for so many of us. I half jokingly mention a lot that I go home to an NJCU alum who scrutinizes everything I do more than the union does. What we're on the precipice of doing, what we are actually doing, is not just something noble, worthy of being pursued. It is something worthy of being emulated. This isn't about self-sacrifice, though I appreciate the kudos. This is about building something that has never existed, right? We've endured a lot in our community, on our campus, but we've endured it for a reason. I said this the first time I got to meet many of you at our LOI signing. My faith tradition tells me that there's no such thing as coincidence, right? My mom calls it God incidences, right? This, the pain, the struggle, the sacrifices, we endured it for a reason. And I'm optimistic about the future that we're building together, because it's worthy of the people that crisscross our campuses to know that they're top of mind in rooms that they have not been invited into. So to my union brothers and sisters, to our faculty, to the students that may remain in the stands, to my extended Kean family, and there's too many of you to mention, but I want you to all know personally, from those that I've known for some time to those that I've just recently got to know better, you have made me feel seen also. And for someone who comes from the very community that our students come from, where we don't see each other in places of influence or authority, to be seen is a gift. And I want all of you to know that the work we're doing behind closed doors is about seeing you. And we will honor that. Thank you, and God bless you.
Nothing else to be said. Thank you, and have a good night, and God bless.